Good morning. Happy Slurpee Day. Isn't it Slurpee Day?
Oh, yeah, you're right. 7-Eleven.
As you
almost forgot.
As you can hear and see, depending on how you are partaking of the Glenn Clark radio show, I guess 1 week wasn't enough for Glenn to stop doing his show. And somehow they dug me out of somewhere. I am Ken Zalis, KZ.
Well, you were telling me Stan called you. And he
did.
And he gave you an offer you couldn't refuse.
Well, yeah, I mean, millions of dollars to do the show. Absolutely. But I am Ken Zalis. I don't know anything about sports anymore, but I'm going to try to get through today. Exciting show today, of course. Do we call you super producer yet?
I mean, they've been calling me that, so yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so super producer Griff kind of gave me some softballs today. Good friend Joe Serpico will be with us in the first hour. We're going to talk some fantasy football, and I need help. I am out as out can be. I have done a ridiculous amount of best ball drafts, but other than that, I have not really, I don't have rankings anymore, and I don't really get into it. Haven't paid as much attention as I normally would have at this point. We're also going to talk to my beloved friend, who is so dear to me, Reeta Hubbard, the NFL chick, who is everywhere. You cannot go on social media and not see something that Sarita is saying, writing, and
yeah, it's writing now.
It's awesome. It's also, I loved her article. Couldn't have written it better myself. I text her. She's like, I knew you'd like that. I said, yeah, it is what it is. I'm sure we'll get into our Orioles, who, the sky apparently is falling. Can't beat the NL Central, apparently, for the most part. They struggle. They struggle there.
Yeah, sure. They did the
Reds.
Yeah,
well.
the Reds.
The Reds they took care of, but they were swept by the Cardinals.
Lost 2 or 3 to the Pirates.
Lost 2 or 3 to Pirates. What did they do against the Brewers?
The Brewers. They lost 2 or 3 to the Brewers. Yeah, the Brewers came here and
and they could get swept today. Tough pitching matchup.
Another one. Yeah.
For the it's funny. I went. I say it's it's a tough pitching matchup, and it is. This kid Steele has had, I believe it's 6 or 7 or 8 out of 9 quality starts in a row. He threw a complete game his last time out. Yeah, it was against the Angels, but complete game is a complete game. We don't get close to those in Oriole land. Your best pitcher can only go 6 innings. Again, it's a quality start by Burns yesterday. A little bit. Tell me if I'm wrong, and I have watched every inning the last 2 days. Take away the offensive woes from the Orioles. Pitching-wise, they've run into some really bad luck. I mean, you look at yesterday, they have 2 swinging bunts that set up. The one ball hits second base is going to be an out that leads to an inning. A little bit of bad luck. Now, they didn't score, so it is what it is. Burns pitched okay. I don't think he was bad. He did what he always does in the first and second inning. Gives up a solo home run. Seems like that's every time out.
And that was, it was a hot day, and it seemed like it might be a fly ball.
Oh, yeah. No, off the bat, I thought that was gone. I mean, he missed his spot. It is what it is. I mean, that guy leads the Cubs in home runs. And I don't know. I didn't listen to Hyde after the game because I was done. Because it was offensively, it was just bad baseball to me. It's like, I get that they lead the league in home runs, but you can't always play for home runs. And, they hit 2 balls to the wall that would have been home runs in 20 other places.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. But runner on second, I've seen this too much over the last week, quite honestly. Runner on second, nobody out, can't advance the runner.
It felt like it was almost every inning last night. Where
second and third, nobody out or 1 out, and you can't. They were giving you a run. You can't put a ball in play. 2-strike approach right now is not great by the Orioles. A lot of called third strikes. there's no panic. I mean, it is what it is. Most likely, they'll go into the All-Star break with the AL East lead. You would think. I mean, they have a
go disastrous this weekend.
They have a 2-game lead. You know, the Yankees. Look, they won 2-1 yesterday. They're not playing good baseball. You're
Thankfully, we'll miss Nestor Cortez because he's pitching tonight. So
yeah, but you get Cole, you get Gill. I mean, look, they just hammered Gill and started him on a 3-game, just getting mashed, and he seems back to his old self. So I don't expect they're going to ambush him again. Povich hasn't pitched well. We'll see what happens. Seen a lot of people saying send Povich back down. Okay, give me your solution.
Yeah,
what's your solution?
Cole Irvin's going to be.
Well, I mean, Cole Irvin turned back into Cole Irvin. I mean, he's been horrible since his hot start. I mean, not even close to good starts. So you got to get to the All-Star break. You got to get to the trade line. Here's the good part: they're in the playoffs. Like we're July 11th. And outside of something, and I don't see it in this team because you have Burns and Rodriguez, and, it's not going to happen. They give you a quality outing. Say what you want about Burns yesterday. Yes, we've come to expect better, but it's a quality outing. You get 2 of those, every 5 days. You're okay. Your offense is good enough. They're scuffling right now. As a team, it seems like there's one player a day that gets 3 hits and everybody else just, And to me, it's the quality of bats. Like they're playing for the home run. They got to get back to moving people over and sometimes play a little small ball. Not all the time. You can't play small ball all the time, but
maybe take into account when you got a guy like Shota Imanaga on the mound, where if you get 2 runners on,
right? I
mean, less than 2 outs, you got to figure out a way to get one of those.
You got to put a ball in play. 2 strike. This 2 strikes, and I'm not, I'm not going to beat up any one player, but this 2-strike looking has to stop. Like, your approach with 2 strikes has to be better. And that goes all the way to Gunnar and Adley as well. I mean, nobody's above it. I mean, outside of Westberg and O'Hearn, like, I trust those guys with 2 strikes. Nobody else with 2 strikes is, I'm like,
Santander, I feel like, creeps in that conversation.
Yeah, creeps sometimes.
He finds ways to make 9-pitch strikeouts.
Yes, yeah. And that was the other disappointing thing about yesterday. If you watch the game, like, yeah, they didn't score in the first inning, but they made the starting pitcher throw 30 pitches. And then you look up and you're in the 5th, and he's only at 65. It's like, what? You had the game plan. Get them out. Get to their bullpen. And they just stopped doing it. All of a sudden, you're seeing first pitch swing. A lot of stuff never went back to deep in the count. And again, not panicking. This is what we do with baseball. There's a game every day, basically. Unless it's a Monday right now for the Orioles. It seems like they only play like 3 Mondays the rest of the year.
Nice.
It's great. I mean, after, and again, you look at some point there was going to be. It's sort of like the St. Louis series. They went into St. Louis after going through a gauntlet and playing really good baseball. And they just, it's like, oh, it's St. Louis. Okay, we can take a breather. Well, you can't in this league. And I sort of think the same thing with the Cubs coming out of that ridiculous June. Just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And... okay, last place Cubs are coming in. They don't score a lot of runs, blah, blah, blah. But I look at the 3 starters they've thrown against the Orioles. They're all pretty good. All these teams have arms. Everybody has arms. It always annoys me. Doesn't it? Like everybody out of the bullpen throws 97. We're bringing Dylan Tate in.
He can get up to 96 or something if he wants to.
No, I mean, but it's just like, come on. Everybody has arms except the Orioles, and I get it. They went offensive, and they've hit on every single pick that they got. I hope the draft, which is coming up Sunday, by the way, I'd like to go heavier on the arms. I look in the system, And I know there's going to be a lot less guys in the system. At least I think there's going to be a lot less guys in the system after July 31st.
Mm-hmm.
But offensively, like I look at their infield and outfield, and I was like, okay, there's nowhere for anybody to play for years. Like they have opportunity to really bolster their pitching, and I hope they sort of go in that direction in this draft and take some chances with some power arms. You know, because you don't have any.
Yeah,
you don't have pitching next year.
Mm-hmm. Or make a move like you said, use they're clearly good at finding positional talent and positional value. So
they're gonna make.
You're gonna have to break up with some of it.
I don't know what they're gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was talking with our good friend Phil Backard. We have a commentary almost every day, and he always sends me Mayo hit a 450-foot home run again yesterday.
Only 450?
Yeah, something like that. And he says, he's like, this is just ridiculous. I said, it is ridiculous. And the Orioles are going to make a trade. And it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. I'm just Oriole fans, it's going to hurt. I don't know who they're giving up, but they're giving up one of your favorites. In order to make an impact, they're going to give up one of your favorites. I don't know who it is. I hope that Mayo, Holiday, and Basilio are still part of the organization on August 1st. Outside of that, I'm prepared for anybody else to go. I'm prepared. I mean, you would think Norby and Stowers are the first two guys to go. They're blocked. They are. Could someone like Mountcastle or Cowser be traded? Could. I can see it.
You throw Kjerstad in that?
I don't think Kjerstad's tradable.
Okay.
I really. Why? What? I mean,
yeah. Like right now, it's
well,
tough.
not even right now.
If we were having this conversation about Cowser in April, we were going to say there's no way.
Correct, but Kjerstad came up twice, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you want to think about his opportunity, twice. And he's come back this time, and he's had the look of, I'm not going down again. He hasn't shown me anything defensively that is like a big red flag. I don't – there's no play that he hasn't made that I'm like, oh, well, Hayes is making that play or Cowser's making that play. Like, and he runs better than I think we thought he could. Like, I watched him run they can all run the bases.
Yeah.
He's a little quicker than he's probably given credit for because everybody looks at
Yeah, and
but
he's 6'5".
He is good at bats.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to give up on Cowser because I think Cowser has some things, and I think Cowser's in that bad spot again. He's a lefty, only playing against lefties. Okay. I mean, whatever. I mean, is he league average now, but above league average in slugging and power?
That sounds right.
Somewhere around there. He's within there. But I'm ready for my heart to be broken. Like somebody's getting traded that I want to be part of this organization. It's gonna hurt, but what do you get in return? You got to get pitching.
Yeah, I mean, every time I've made up my mind to like Eric Fetty seems like the guy. Like just every time that he goes out, and it seems like his price is not going to be
what the other guy,
one that does rip your heart. Like it's gonna hurt, but it's not going to rip your heart out.
Yeah, I mean, I was all over bringing Gibby back early, but they're in it. Are they?
That's the problem. That's the big problem, really.
That's a sort of problem. Like even the Cubs. If you're the Cubs. And let's say you win. Let's hopefully they don't win today, but they win their last 3 going into the All-Star break. I mean, they're only going to be like 3 out of the wild card. Like, what are you doing? Like what are you deciding to do if you're the Cubs?
I guess you just got to see how that next week goes. They're 3.5 out of the wild card right now.
Yeah, I mean, like you're not out of it. Everybody in that Central isn't out of it. I just. My heart's going to be broken. So they're going to trade somebody. I think the one guy I would be least upset about, and it would hurt, is Basilio.
Basilio,
sorry. You know me with names. if I'm in the ballpark, I'm good enough. Just because you have Adley, and I can see why they want both of those guys together because they don't want Adley catching, 110 games, and there's plenty of at-bats for both. But if they were to include him and get a starting pitcher under control for a little bit, I think you can get by with it. There's some other catching depth as backup catchers in the organization. They've taken a lot of catchers over the years. Mm-hmm. Mayo would hurt. And Mayo would hurt. Kerstead would just kill me. Cowser would be tough to swallow because I mean, Hayes Mullins and Santander, I don't know. I don't know if they're on the team next year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like free agent.
It's becoming hard to envision this team without Santander.
It is. It's impossible to envision. It's impossible to envision. And this is where the new ownership comes in. Are we going to be the Yankees?
Right.
You see over the next
and it seems
3 years what the payroll is going to have to be if you're keeping this core crew together. And I haven't even talked about re-signing Burns, who to me, I get he's gonna want the biggest contract ever for a pitcher,
and he can probably
and quite frankly, he deserves it based on his last 4 years.
And he's likely going to get that from
somebody.
A New York and L.A. or a Boston.
Somebody's going to give it to him. If you don't have him next year, who the hell is starting pitching for the Orioles next year? And I know we're putting a lot of carts before the horse. You don't have anybody.
You look at Grayson.
That's it.
And then
Kramer.
At the moment, Povich, I guess.
Okay. Povich, Kramer.
Those are really
Suarez, I guess. I mean, we're all waiting. I thought he had turned back into a pumpkin, but he kind of settled himself out again.
You're praying Bradish is back by July,
I see, but all those guys, I don't.
Mm-hmm. You can't.
I'm not counting on any of them. I'm not counting on any of them because you don't know.
So that's why I really like Fetty. So Fetty's got one more year,
right?
So that makes Fetty, I think,
he does.
A big,
but you need
very
more,
helpful
need
this
more
year.
Than one. Mm-hmm. Need more than one.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at their minors; they don't have much pitching.
Chase McDermott's still down there. And
Chase McDermott walks. He just walked you. Okay. I mean, you love the strikeout numbers. Like, you look at him and even what Povich was doing in the minor leagues, it's night and day. Povich, I mean, I know it hasn't been great all the time up here, but he was the obvious one to come up. McDermott, you love his arm. He walks everybody. He walks way too many people, and that was the thing with Povich that we were worried about. And at this level, it's come to be true. Doesn't throw it. He walks too many people, especially early in games. It's fun, and for anybody, it is because look, you're younger, and I get it, and I get there's a lot of new, young Oriole fans. We went through a long drought, folks, that we're having this type of conversation about on July 11th that the Orioles are in the playoffs. I mean, they would have to go under 500 the rest of the way to not be in the playoffs. And everybody else would have to play 550 ball while they're playing 480 ball just to miss out. I don't think that the team's too good for that. They're a good team, regardless of their last two games. But come on. I mean, we have to look at these things. You don't like Elias always says. You're not just playing for this year. You're playing for 5 years down the road. What's it all going to look like? What's the puzzle piece? But I trust him, and we'll see what happens. Mm-hmm. But I'm prepared for my heart to be broken.
I think you're probably right.
I am. We're gonna probably switch gears. I mean, are we gonna take a break before we go to Joe?
No, we'll go right into. We're gonna phone call right now.
Okay, so we're gonna go and we're gonna go right into Joe. And if you're listening to us on YouTube or watching us on Facebook or listening to us, I'm sure you can put something in the comments. If we see a comment, we'll try to get to it. But we're gonna switch gears because I need some help, and I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing in fantasy football anymore. I don't know. I look at I'm a running back snob. I've been my entire career since I started writing quote unquote professionally in 98 or whatever year it was. I'm a running back snob. I like to go running back, and then figure out the wide receivers. There's like 6 running backs that I trust in the NFL right now. like the league has changed to like a 2 running back. Everybody has 2 running backs. There's like 5 or 6 guys that I trust. And even a couple of those, I'm like, do I really want to take him in the second round? So joining us is Pressbox's own fantasy football resident expert, Mr. Joe Serpico. How you doing, Joe? Good to talk to you.
Ken, Griffin, always a pleasure to talk to you guys. How we been?
I'm good, except I feel lost. So my story is documented. I retired. I unretired for a year. I am fully retired now. And I feel lost. I'm doing these best ball drafts because those are fun, and I'm more into dynasty leagues, so I don't do a lot of drafting this time of year. And I like to take running backs early, Joe, and I'm struggling because I don't like any of them. So let's start there. How many running backs do you really trust to take in the first or second round of a fantasy draft?
I heard you say the magic number, and I think you're right. I think it's about 5 or 6. I think your clear cut number one is CMC. There's no debate about that.
Debate about that.
But then you have, let's say, Breece Hall, Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley, and then we're really starting to kind of then you're really starting to ask question marks. Even the Ravens most recent addition, you're not 100% sure. Is he going to live up to that second round status that he has? So I 100% agree with you. If you can somehow get out of the first round with one of those 5 or 6 running backs, do that, and then kind of stack up on receivers, and then follow for those in the fantasy football world what's called a hero running back strategy. Because I think finding guys that get hurt. That's how I won a championship last year, finding Kyron Williams out of the blue, and then later on in the season was Donta Foreman for a couple games and just plug and play. That's the beauty of running backs. People are going to get hurt. So if you can land that stud in the first round, and then I'm attacking receivers in rounds 2, 3, 4 from there.
Where are you on a couple of these running backs that look last year? James Cook, White out of Tampa Bay, they did it for me. I mean, they got me where I wanted to go, especially White. It seems like everybody's down on White this year. I don't. What's Tampa doing that everybody in the fantasy community seems like, oh, White's more risky than he is. Where are you with guys like that I guess we'll call it the second tier running backs? Because I look at those 2 guys and I'm like, what do they have behind them?
No, I agree with your statement about White. I was also somebody who had a good amount of White last year, and his rushing numbers, let's face it, they're not the greatest, but there's nobody else touching the ball for the Buccaneers offense. And all this talk is about they drafted Bucky Irving in the 4th round, 5th round, whatever it was, and everybody's just assuming that he is going to get this large share of the workload. I just don't see that happening. I mean, is he going to take some more touches than that we saw from the backup of the Bucs last year? I can't even think of who it was right now. Maybe, but at the same time, I still think this is White's job. He's still an excellent pass catcher. Yeah, would you like better running efficiency? Of course, but let's face it, the Buccaneers' offensive line has stunk for a couple of years. Even when they had Leonard Fournette a couple of years back, we were talking about how they were only getting 3 yards a carry. So it's a Buccaneers' offensive line problem. I don't think it's really a White problem. And then, like I said, with White, it gives you that added bonus with how much he catches passes out of the backfield. And same thing with Cook. Those are 2 of the guys that I am kind of eyeing up. I would much rather have one of those 2 as opposed to who I just mentioned, Derrick Henry, just because of the usage in the passing game.
Yeah, I seem to be able to, they seem to be dropping in some of these best ball drafts. I'm like, I don't understand. The other guy that in the first round, let's switch over to wide receiver, because it seems like the first round is really wide receiver heavy, especially outside of CMC and maybe somebody who really wants Bijan Robinson is going to take that leap of faith that the Cousins is what cures the Falcons offense. But the one guy that's dropping further than, and I don't want to say this like it's a massive drop because it's not, but is it all about the quarterback with Justin Jefferson? Because, you look at Justin Jefferson and, man gets 15 targets a game or whatever, something crazy like that, and puts up insane numbers. But the quarterback is a question. I mean, Darnold, J.J. McCarthy, we don't know which way it's going to be. But he's looking like, he goes after Hill and Lamb, and even ASB. I've seen him drop below him. Where are you comfortable? Are you still comfortable with JJ as a top 5 wide receiver in this league?
I still believe he's a top 5 wide receiver. I think I have him as number 11 overall, which I think would be lower than most people as well.
Yeah.
And that is because of the quarterback situation. There was a stat that I heard on a podcast I was listening to earlier this summer, but it was something along the lines, there's only been a handful of receivers who have ever finished as a top 5 fantasy wide receiver with a rookie quarterback. And then when you see the other guys that are going in the top 5 that you mentioned, Lamb, Hill, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamar Chase, even A.J. Brown, they have more established quarterbacks that are getting the ball. We've seen what they can do with that quarterback. Let's just face it. With McCarthy, we have no idea what we're getting because he hardly threw the ball at Michigan. So we have no clue what we're getting with him as an NFL quarterback. And we've seen what Sam Darnold does, and it's really not anything exciting. So it's because of that, I'm still fearful of taking him as my first receiver. But, if you're sitting at the end of the first round and you're getting Justin Jefferson, that's a hell of a steal, I think, in its own right.
If I can get Justin Jefferson at 11, I'm doing a cartwheel the rest of the draft. I'm just telling you that right now. Because that dude is really, really good. Let's switch over to our quarterbacks. Look, it's the top tier to me is 2 guys. Sorry, Baltimore, but it's Allen and it's Mahomes, and then after that, I can wait a while. I don't. Here's what I don't know. What's made Lamar such a great fantasy quarterback is obviously he's led his team in rushing the last couple of years. And I worry in my mind how much does Henry take away from his rushing? Some people would say, well, it's going to help his rushing because you can't just key on him and blah, 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 blah. But if they turn back a little bit and they start to play that 20 touch game with Henry, which seems like his magic number, I worry that if the rushing numbers aren't as big with Lamar, then his fantasy value isn't as big. Where are you with all that this year?
Oh, I agree with that. I definitely think we're going to have a circumstance where Henry is going to be the guy. Maybe doesn't get all those carries in the first half, but let's say the second half, fourth quarter, when they're grinding away, it's going to be 100% him. And we saw at times where it would be Lamar would be the guy that would close the games out for guys, and they just don't need to do that anymore. So I do think you're right about that. I definitely think we're going to see less designed runs for him just because you have such a beast in the backfield with him. And then when you get to the goal line, I think they'll still draw off some plays for Lamar to, find the end zone. But there's a reason why you went out and got Derrick Henry. It's to plunge in those 2-3 yard out touchdowns. The guy's a beast down that way. So, Lamar's just not going to get those anymore that were, that's what boosted his fantasy value for as long as it did. Now, I think that we are finally going to get a Lamar this year where the passing game really kind of steps out. And I think we'll finally stop putting all the focus on his running game. And, let's talk about that he is a good quarterback as well, because he does put up numbers as a passer as well. Yes, in fantasy, we want the rushing quarterbacks, but let's talk about Lamar being a better passer as well, because I have him as a quarterback 3 this year because I believe I think it's possible he's going to repeat his MVP. Let's face it.
That's a bold statement. I hope it's true. Obviously, I'll forego the MVP if he turns into a Super Bowl MVP, quite frankly. But yeah, I mean, look, Lamar, obviously, however you slice it, he's a top 5 fantasy quarterback. You want to rank him at 3, that's fine. Again, I think Allen and Mahomes are the 2 you take. If you're going to take a quarterback early, those are the guys that you take, and you can probably wait a little while, things like that. Last question for you, Joe. We always, to me, fantasy is won, especially in redraft leagues, after round 8 and what we do in the back half of the draft. We all love sleepers. We all love guys that, maybe are on the verge and maybe will be grabbing a bigger role this year for some of their teams. Can you give me some darts to throw late in drafts that are some of your favorites going into this year?
I've got 2 that I'm kind of really keen on that you can get with probably your last pick. And they are Chargers wide receivers Josh Palmer and Quentin Johnson. All the love is about Ladd McConkey, the rookie, and I understand it. He's a good player coming out, and I believe he got the highest contract ever for a second-round pick or whatever it was. But at the same time, the most established guys there are Palmer and Quentin Johnson. And people forgetting that Quentin Johnson was a first-round pick last year. Now, did he live up to it? No, but we have seen that in the past where the first-year receivers don't do so well, and then year 2, year 3 is where they kind of bust out. Everybody's talking about the Chargers becoming run first. And don't get me wrong, they brought in Greg Roman. They got Jim Harbaugh, so we get but they still have Justin Herbert. I think people are forgetting that they still have Herbert there. You still have one of the best quarterbacks in the league there to get the ball to these guys. And we have seen when Mike Williams was hurt and Keenan Allen was hurt that Josh Palmer can put up fantasy relevant numbers. So I think those are 2 guys that with your last pick, I am absolutely keying in on. If you're looking for more, I don't know if you're going to find him that late, but my other guy that I'm kind of keeping an eye on is Trey Benson, the rookie running back for the Cardinals. And that's more just because James Conner always gets hurt. Every single year that guy gets hurt at least 2, 3, 4 games, if not more. So you always want to kind of have the backup to Conner. And let's face it, Conner is slowing down. He's in a contract year, but he's slowing down. I do think of ultimately, let's say next year, that's probably Benson's job. So by the end of the season, we could see a 50-50 split, or we could see Benson maybe even take over completely.
I like those picks. I'm going to be honest. The Chargers scared the bejesus out of me. Herbert is fine, but you got a head coach and you got an offensive coordinator that all they want to do is run the ball. They brought in the Ravens backfield. We'll see how long either one of Gus or J.K. are healthy. I love the kid Vidal, the rookie that they took as somebody to fill out the end of your bench with on that team, just because I don't expect Gus and J.K. to make it through the season unscathed. I hope they do for their base. But the Chargers, Herbert's a guy I can get in the 10th round if I need a quarterback so far from what I'm seeing, just because of so much run first, coaching change there. You bring in essentially 3 running backs. You got rid of your best wide receivers. Quentin Johnson, we'll see what happens to him. Josh Palmer, love the talent. Again, he's another guy that's always hurt. So that scares me a little bit. But if you can get him in the last round, hey, that's not a bad thing at all. Joe, how can hold on, we got a question from super producer.
Yeah, thank you. We need some tight end talk, Joe. I feel like I always find myself drafting 8, 9, 10 in that range. So I always like going Travis Kelce at either 1 or 2. I don't think that's happening this year. Am I still taking Travis Kelce? Is he still the first tight end? If not, then who are we going at with tight end? And when do we see tight ends go?
I think this year, as far as tight end goes, is the deepest we've ever seen. So for me, I am trying to avoid getting, let's say, a Kelce, or you're seeing Sam Laporta most of the time being your tight end 1. I'm not buying him as a tight end 1. I believe I have Mark Andrews on top of my tight end list, to be really honest. And the reason for that being, again, it's all about numbers, but I saw a stat that if Andrews didn't get hurt, Baltimore Ravens tight ends were number 2 overall in fantasy last year. So that's my reasoning for Andrews being at the top. But yeah, there's later round guys. I still don't understand why Evan Ingram is going where he is. He's going in the 7th round, which makes no sense to me. The guy who caught 114 passes last year. If he would have found the end zone more, he would have been a top 5. Actually, I believe he did finish top 5. He probably would have been a top 2 fantasy option. He just never found the end zone, unfortunately. But he led all tight ends in receptions. Those are what you're looking for. And what I like about Evan Ingram the most is it's no secret that Doug Peterson really heavily involves the tight ends. That was always a thing, even when he was in Philly with Zach Ertz. So Evan Ingram's a guy. If you could get Trey McBride, that's another guy. But I'm not trying to go after Kelsey. Kelsey's slowing down, and I'm just not buying the Sam Laporta hype. Last year for tight ends, yeah, we're getting deeper as a group, but tight ends scoring was actually down as a whole. But we're a little bit deeper, but as a whole, it was a little bit down. But that's because we had such major outliers for years and years and years, with Kelsey basically being, one, and then there was nobody even close to him afterwards.
Laporta won me a lot of money last year, dude.
Oh, if you got him late, don't get me wrong.
I'm just telling you.
But this year, I'm not getting into that hype of taking him number 1. That's my tight end one. I should say.
So here's my thing with that, real quick. I don't mind taking him tight end number 1. It depends when you can get him, though. Like I would take him above Kelsey this year. I really would, because we saw some kinks in Kelsey. I don't even know if Kelsey's looked at a football since the end of the year, since he's dancing on stage everywhere we see him. Love the offense that Laporta's in. Number 2 receiver in that scheme that throws the ball a lot. But I'm not taking him in the 3rd round. Like, if I can get him round 4 as the first tight end off the board, sure. It's all a matter to me value. I'm gonna throw out one guy that nobody's talking about, that if you wait on tight end and you miss any of the guys that Joe just said, and this is a leap of faith, that if Aaron Rodgers can make it through more than 4 plays, Conklin for the New York Jets is a 70-catch, 6-touchdown potential guy. You look at that cat's numbers last year with crap quarterbacks. I believe he caught over 60 balls. And I'm not in love with the wide receivers still for there. I grab him late. You can even probably get him as your number 2 tight end, and you'll be fine. It takes a leap of faith, but it's one of those guys you can take late, because I don't know that there's many of them this year. It's deep, but they're going a lot earlier. Real quick, where are you on Pitts?
I believe I have him in somewhere between 5 and 7. I do think that with Kirk Cousins, we've seen it. Kirk Cousins does target the tight end pretty often.
Right.
We've seen how many years with T.J. Hockenson, where he was in Detroit, he was basically a tight end 2, and then as soon as he got over to Minnesota, he became an instant top 5 option, let's face it. So with that size, speed, new offensive scheme that should get them involved, the joke with the Falcons the past couple of years is Arthur Smith didn't want to use his best players. I think with the new scheme, Pitts is going to be, like you were kind of mentioning with Laporta, he'll be the second option on that offense. So I do think Pitts is due for finally the year we've been expecting of him since he was a rookie.
Let's hope so. I have him all over Dynasty, and I refuse to trade him because I can't get value for him. He is Joe Serpico.
20-some years old.
I know. And it was like just ridiculous. Joe Serpico, where can people find all your stuff?
On Twitter at Joe Serp, and then, of course, on PressBox Online. We're going through mock drafts right now, and then crazy guys, training camp's almost here.
It's almost here. There he goes, Joe Serpico. Joe, thanks as always, my friend.
Of course. Love talking to you guys. Hope to talk to you soon.
Hey, by the way, you can also read Joe Serpico's fantasy football guide in the latest edition of PressBox, which is available now. On the cover, Maryland Governor Wes Moore sits down with PressBox to discuss sports topics significant to his administration, including the stadium and grounds lease for the Orioles, the future of horse racing in the state, and much, much more. Also, the annual travel issue with information about sports tourism opportunities throughout the state that you and your family can take advantage of this summer. You can find the new PressBox all throughout the region, including at 60 Royal Farm stores. And you can read it all at PressBoxOnline.com, as you see Griff holding up.
That's Joe's draft guide right there.
There's his draft guide. I was perusing it. Yes, perusing it. Best overall player. Round 1. I don't know.
McCaffrey, right?
Well, if you get
Or
one,
Jettas.
if you got one or two, you only get them 1 or 2, maybe 3 if somebody really loves the wide receivers. But you gotta get them early if you're gonna get them. You know, I hope I can get Justin Jefferson number 11, like Joe said. Are we taking a break or are we going right in?
Yes, let's take a
Okay,
break.
so we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to have the one, the only Reeta Hubbard, the NFL chick. You're listening to Glenn Clark Radio.
Frederick Keys baseball is back. With 30 more home games beginning on July 2nd, the Keys are excited to welcome you back to Nimio Field at Harry Grove Stadium. We want to see you there. Countless promotions will be on display every game, with it ranging from Tap House Tuesdays to Firework Fridays and everything in between. For more information or to buy tickets, call 301-815-9939 or visit frederickkeys.com today.
The ultimate fan experience awaits you at Sports and Social Maryland. See how we're raising the sports bar with our massive 100-foot media wall featuring 40 HD TVs and a 47-foot big screen. Bet on your favorite teams and this year's biggest events at the FanDuel Sportsbook while enjoying your favorite beers and cocktails, plus our delicious takes on bar food classics. Visit Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland at Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from DriveEasyMD.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. Learn more at DriveEasyMD.com.
Hagerstown, Maryland, a snapshot of American history that dates back centuries. Today, the roots of the city expand with another historical moment, the grand opening of Meredith Park, Hagerstown's new event stadium and home to the Atlantic League Flying Boxcars. Experience the energy, culture, and adventure. Plan your getaway today at America's newest and most innovative ballpark. You're welcome in Hagerstown, Maryland. Visit Hagerstown.com.
Treat yourself and taste the Baltimore tradition that is the legendary Costas Inn. Hey, it's Stan the Fan Charles. For over 50 years, the Costas Inn has been a Baltimore original, dishing out their legendary fat, delicious, award-winning crab cakes and steamed crabs. It's crab season, so sit back and crack some crabs while watching the Birds pursue another divisional title on Costas's 15 TVs. On Monday night, the Costas Inn offers their half-pound jumbo lump crab cake with 2 sides for under $30. So head on down to the Costas Inn today at 4100 North Point Boulevard or visit them at CostasInn.com.
There he is, Agent 00 Chicken. Nothing can keep him from Royal Farms Chicken Palooza. Because right now, he can get a 3-piece world-famous chicken box for just $8 with a portion of each sale donated to a local charity. Plus, register to win world-famous chicken for a year. Come to Royal Farms Chicken Palooza. It's a real thriller, but it's only for a limited time. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
The Toyota Tacoma comes in a range of models and trim lines, so you can choose the perfect Tacoma to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Escape to Ocean City, Maryland, and discover a place that just feels lighter, where every day feels like Saturday and French fries are a food group, where flip-flops are always in fashion and seafood is always in season, where the boardwalk is bustling and the beach is right outside your door, where you can rise with the tide and feel like a kid again. Ocean City, Maryland, somewhere to smile about. Book your trip at OCOcean.com.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
Well, you may know who they are, but it's certainly not Glenn Clark, who is, I guess, sunning himself somewhere in a warm,
we know he's not doing that.
Warm climate. Why? All I see is his listing, like he's being forced to be on vacation and doesn't like to go. Like, you went to the beach. What do you expect? I mean, you went to the beach. What do you expect?
So,
go to an island or something where there's a pool. you know,
That's
or
a
a
good point. That's
pond,
a good point.
or you know, don't complain. We know you're on vacation. Stop complaining about it. You get your ass back to work already. I'm doing my best Glenn Clark imitation though while in the studio.
Pretty good.
Because, you know, the best place to watch all the biggest events all summer is at the Sports and Social Inside Live Casino and Hotel, except if you're hosting the Glenn Clark radio show and you have Wimbledon on, because I know that if Glenn Clark was here, he would have Wimbledon on. But they have great food and drinks, the giant 100-foot media wall, and an atmosphere for sports viewing that is second to none, just steps away from the FanDuel Sportsbook. And live casino rewards members have the opportunity to earn discounts on cash and credit purchases at the casino. Join the Live Casino Rewards Club online or in person at Live today. You can probably get there if you leave now. The first semifinal is in the last set for the women. You can probably get there for the second semifinal. But see complete details at livecasinohotel.com. Without further ado, one of my favorite people in the entire sports world. Believe it or not, she writes now. I mean, I know she would sing and dance and do all that other fun stuff on social media, but now she writes, the one and only Reeta Hubbard. Hey.
Good morning. I'm not just one of your favorite people in the sports world. I'm one of your favorite people, period.
Well, yes, but most of the people I know are in the sports world, so it's one in the same. One of my favorite people, period. It was funny. It was funny. You know, the lovely thing about Facebook sometimes is they do these memory things, and it popped up the other day that like we started the fantasy and reality football show like 9 years ago, and it popped up.
Are we sure it wasn't 10 at this point? I thought it was 2014.
I don't know. Maybe it was 10. I don't know. But it said 9 years on it, so I don't know. Maybe it hasn't kicked in.
Maybe we started the Facebook page 9 years ago.
Maybe we did. Maybe that.
2014 was our inaugural year.
Yeah. It sounds about right. We did that a lot of places, but you know, they dragged me to put a microphone in my face, and I know absolutely nothing anymore because I don't watch sports outside of soccer and tennis apparently, because that's all that's been on TV besides the Orioles, of course.
I was about to say.
Well, you know, the great thing of it, the great difference for me with baseball is like I get it when we watch the Ravens, and if they lose a game, it's a catastrophe. It just ruins your week, you know. But baseball, they lose a game, and there's another game tonight. It's like I'm over it already. It's like let's move on. Let's move on. But you wrote an interesting article, and one that you knew I would agree with based on all the times that we've talked. You know, and about the Ravens' upcoming season and what it looks like and what it means. And I couldn't agree with you more. If this team, the Baltimore Ravens, doesn't make the playoffs, we know things went really, really wrong. But the assumption is, based on the track record, based on the roster, even though we have some question marks, the addition of Derrick Henry kind of, to me, of course, just adds to the belief that this is a team with Super Bowl aspirations and a playoff team. And, you know, whether or not they beat the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 1 really is immaterial to me. I know the national media is going to make a big deal about it and blah, 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 blah. Win or lose, it doesn't matter. They're going to win 10 or 11 games and move on with our lives. And what they do in the playoffs is all that matters for the Baltimore Ravens. And that's it. That's it. And you said that very nicely. You know? You said that very nicely in your article, your first article. Where can we read that again?
On the Baltimore Beat. It's on the Baltimore Beat. It's online, and it's also going to be in print July the 17th. So next Wednesday, you'll be able to get it, you know, in paper.
Awesome. We're going to frame that one. First one of many.
Yeah, I'm definitely framing it.
So tell everybody who didn't read the article, where are you with the Ravens coming into this season?
You know, I don't know. KZ. I say that because, and in the article I said, if common sense was so common, the Ravens would be Super Bowl champions. Right. So I am still very perplexed about how that game went. And I don't understand how it turned out the way that it did with only 6 rushes from the running backs. So, you'd like to think that the Ravens are in prime position to compete. Well, the problem is that one of the weaknesses for the Chiefs was, that they didn't have good pass catchers. And they've gotten, in my opinion, better. I know how we feel about Hollywood Brown here, but I think that Hollywood Brown is better than essentially anybody else outside, Rasheed Rice on that team, and probably better than him. And then you draft, you get the guy from Texas in the draft, Xavier Worthy. Last year was it. I'm not saying by it, I don't mean like their only chance, but that was their biggest chance, and for sure.
Yeah, sometimes you got to win it when you're supposed to win it.
That's what I'm saying. So you got cute. You wanted to be somebody else, and then you got sat at home. I don't know what this means for them. Their offensive line has downgraded because there's now different parts on it. They lost Jadeveon Clowney, and we still have question marks about Ajabo in a way. The secondary is obviously their greatest strength, but ultimately, I don't know what this means for them in 2024. And I think that because of that, there's a part of me that's not necessarily looking forward to the season because, we know that they do well in regular season, KZ. Right. That's never been an issue.
Never.
It's once you get to the playoffs. Am I going to have to continue to deal with the same dynamic every year of y'all being regular season champions, and then in the playoffs you forget to do the things that you do best? Because remember, they did this in the Tennessee Titans game as well, back in the 2019 divisional playoffs. So I just don't know what to expect. And I think because of that, I'm just very, I'm conflicted about being excited about the 2024 Baltimore Ravens. I think at this point I got a little bit of PTSD, and I don't want to get overly excited about somebody that, doesn't know who they are when things really, when it gets to the line, So that's the part that's interesting to me. And I just felt like I needed to say what we've all been saying. Like, I nicely said that.
You very nicely said.
Y'all a bunch of fools over there. That's the nice thing that I said. I said it in the nicest way possible. Y'all a bunch of fools over there.
I just wish there would be some honesty over there. I would love nothing more than Harbaugh to come out and say, you know what, we blew it. Like just be honest about it and say we blew it. Yeah. We should have run the ball more. We didn't. There were reasons that we're not going to replay the game in the media, but there were reasons why we did what we did, and it didn't work, and it bit us in the butt, and we should be Super Bowl champions, and we're not.
Like, what's wrong with saying that? What is wrong?
What's
with
wrong with saying
honest?
it? Because as a fan, I won't like it anymore. But at least I know I have an organization that can look in the mirror and say, you know what? At the end of the day, we're the best team in football all freaking year long. And guess what? We were the best team in football in the game that we lost for the majority of the game. And I would like some honesty instead of the coach speak. It's like, and maybe it's because, look, you and I know there's no love loss for me as John Harbaugh as the coach of the Baltimore Ravens because of the playoff failures. It has nothing to do with him personally. It's just I want better in the playoffs. You've had better teams, and you've come up short. But it's like you're 16 years in. We're tired of hearing from the same old, same old. I don't need the coach speak.
Mm-hmm.
We're not idiots. We watched it. We've watched it unfold, and just sometimes you just, there are teams in sports that never win a title because they didn't win the one they were supposed to, and I hope that isn't the legacy of this Ravens team with Lamar Jackson. But you got at a certain point, it's like, well, when? And why I hate that they're playing the Chiefs on the first week, because I don't care. I don't care if they win that game. I don't. If they win the game, you know what it's going to do? It's going to piss me off more. Like if they go out and let's say they come out and they're pissed off and they say, we're going to show the Kansas City Chiefs what we really are and who we should have been. And they blow the doors off of Kansas City because we know Kansas City starts off slow every year.
Mm-hmm.
So what? Like I'm going to say in the post-game show with Glenn Clark, so what? I don't care. It's great. It's great. Can you do this in January? Because that's all that matters. And if they lose the game again, I don't care. Because I still think looking at their schedule, and we did this when I was with you talking about the draft, I still think there's 10 or 11 wins in the schedule, even after week 1, that they can handle. And it's just, that's my problem with this upcoming season, is like, I'm going to be pissed off every week. You know, when they give the ball 20 times in week 1 to Derrick Henry, and he scores 3 touchdowns and rushes over 100 yards, it's going to piss me off.
Listen, football is such an easy sport, KZ, in terms of like how you go about things. The teams that win championships, and particularly multiple championships, get it. Bill Belichick got it. With Andy Reid, when the Ravens went into cover 2 very early on in the game, something we don't talk about enough because they went back to what they were good at and it worked. What did they do? They just dinked and dunked down the field. Oh, you're trying to take the long ball away? Cool.
Oh, cool.
That's fine.
Right. We'll take what you're giving us. Yeah.
We'll take what you're giving us. Those are the teams that win multiple championships. You want to know why? Because 1 + 1 = 2 for them. They don't need to do PEMDAS. They don't need to do long equations to come up with the same results as everybody else. They're not trying to be cute. They're trying to win championships. And I'm not suggesting that the Ravens were trying to be cute per se, but what I am suggesting is something happened between what it is that they planned to do and what happened in that game. Somebody in that organization, whether it's the quarterback, whether it's the coordinator, whether it's the head coach, presses the panic button too soon. And while we sit here and blame Harbaugh, as we should, because he is the head coach, he's the person responsible. What I do remember is going into halftime, he himself talked about lack of running the football. So it's not that he didn't know. But for whatever reason, he didn't give enough a stink. He didn't argue enough. Because if it were me, I would have been the way that Travis Kelce was in Andy Reid's face. I would have been in everybody's face. Because do you want to win a Super Bowl or do you want to go home?
And here's
what's on the line.
And that push comes to shove. You just said my problem with John Harbaugh. Everybody says you hate John Harbaugh. I don't hate John Harbaugh. But my problem is you're the head coach of the football team. I get it that you're known as a guy that lets your coordinators coach. But at some point, you go up to your coordinator and says, run the damn football. You go up to your quarterback, and I've heard this scenario post the debacle, that Lamar was changing the play call because of what he was seeing on the defense. That's fine. I'm glad he has. Everybody says, well, he's not allowed to audible. I'm glad he has that ability, and I'm glad he can read the defense. You go up to your quarterback, stop audibling and run the freaking play.
And run the damn play.
Run the damn play. I don't care. I don't care what you're seeing. We're bigger, faster, more physical than they are. Run the ball, goddamn, down their throat. And stop changing the play. We literally
watched Buffalo do it the week before.
Yep.
We literally watched Buffalo do it and said, no, you know what we're not going to do? We're going to challenge their fourth-ranked pass defense instead. It's ridiculous. And this is why I'm not excited about the 2024 Baltimore Ravens, because I don't know if they got it, and if they did get it, is it too late, KZ? Is it too late? And so, excuse me, if I'm not as excited about training camp as everybody else is, to me, it's the same old song. They're going to be good in the regular season. They're going to wait till the off season to stink. And now, it is their job to prove me and everybody else wrong. You can say whatever you want about my opinion. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Right. Our opinions are our opinions.
And they're formulated based on the information that they gave us, correct?
Correct. Not over a small sample size.
Correct. So it's your job to fix it. It's your job to fix it. I hope for the Ravens. I hope for me. Because, yes, do we cover the Ravens? Sure, but I'm a fan.
We're a fan.
I've been a fan since 1996.
Right.
I hope for me. I hope for them. I hope Lamar more than anybody that they get it right and finally win a championship. The problem is that last year felt like the best opportunity to do that, and you failed. So that's where we are with that, and that's where I'm at.
Yeah, and look, you can, if you're a fan, you're saying, okay, last year's last year and it's over. That's fine. We can be as optimistic as we want, and I hope they go in, like I said, 11-12, win the division, exciting football. Derrick Henry's the man. Defenses can't key on anybody. They figure out how to use two tight ends at the same time because they couldn't figure it out last year. And we go. And Lamar's the MVP again.
Mm-hmm.
And then you better damn do something in the playoffs. And you don't have to win the Super Bowl, but you better get there. Super Bowls are tough to win.
No, at this point you need to win it.
I get it. But you're not wrong. You're not wrong because last year they needed to win it because they were so dominant. They have so many questions for me this year for a team that was so dominant last year. I don't know where the pass rush is coming from. I said that the year before, and your interior pass rush was fantastic.
Yes.
Does money change that? I don't know. It has in the past. I hope it doesn't. But you still have the same issues on the outside. I'm glad they re-signed Van Noy. Okay,
mm-hmm.
But without Batman, Robin isn't that good. Robin's not catching anybody by himself. So now that Van Noy is by himself and doesn't have Clowney, who's Clowney this year? Do we finally see Owe take a step? Does Ojabo finally be healthy? Is he a guy? Travian Robinson, we keep on hearing his name all preseason long. Is he a guy? And then the offensive line. I mean, you lost an All-Pro, and you're thinking about replacing them with a rookie who, again, my favorite pick from the draft 2 years ago. I thought it was brilliant to come back in and get Voorhees, but you're talking about a guy who hasn't played football in a year and a half. We'll see. There's still,
I'm not worried about Voorhees as much as everybody. I understand that we're like, because he was injured. I get it, and that's fair. I think it's
it would have been a second round pick if he was healthy.
I was just getting ready to say, for me, it's about the talent level of. He's had a whole year. He's had a whole entire year. Yeah. So he wasn't ever rushed. He was redshirted essentially. Mm-hmm. So he was never rushed to be put back on the field. He's been allowed. His body has been allowed to 100% heal. So for me, I mean, he might start off rusty, but I love the Voorhees pick, and I think that he will be okay. I stand with that. I think Voorhees will be okay. I think Rose Garden will be okay. The other guys, I'm not sure. We'll see how this goes, right? But that's the issue when you are poised to win it all and you don't, and then guys leave a free agency or trade because we know Morgan Moses got traded, but. Now what? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, we talked about John Simpson, but for the most part, the rest of that line was solid. Now we're talking about 3 positions, well, maybe 4. If you include Ronnie Stanley, who has dealt with, health issues, how is this all going to work out? And that's the scary thing. Now we're in the land of the unknown. And I love Derrick Henry. And I know that playing for the Tennessee Titans, they had one of the worst offensive lines, and yet he still ended up ending the season with second, overall rush yards. So that's promising within itself. But we have to acknowledge he is another year older. Yep. He's coming to an offensive line with new parts. How is this all? How long is this? Is it going to be an immediate, positive? Is it going to take some time because everybody's trying to figure it all out? We don't know. That's why you needed to do it when you did it, and now we got all these questions.
And here's my thing with Derrick Henry, and your point about the offensive line for the Titans is a great one because it was awful and he's still productive. But even when he had good offensive lines, Derrick Henry's better in the second half of football games normally than the first half of football games. You've got to give him touches. I just hope they do. I hope they do in the regular season.
And not just in the regular season
I hope they do in the regular season. I hope they do in the postseason. I mean, he's not going to I mean, the running backs they had, it is what it is. 6.9 yards a carry, and they still didn't give the running back. I don't care if it's Derrick Henry or me behind there. If I'm averaging 6.9 yards, give me the freaking ball.
The fact that he's 30 years old now, do you think that'll force them to
I think he's
maybe not use him as much?
I think he's a freak of nature, and I don't know who else they have.
Yes, he is.
I mean,
that's a linebacker.
Yeah. I mean, he's a ridiculous human being. Not in the best possible way. Like, his workouts are legendary. You know he's coming in shape. You know he's motivated. I mean, for Derrick Henry, this is it. Like, this is his stop to win a Super Bowl. You don't have, you don't have any other stops to win a Super Bowl. This is it.
Right.
You want to win one in your career, this is your opportunity. So I think you got a really motivated guy. I'll never question the shape he's in, but his career is what it is. 2-2-3-1 298. That's what he is. And not that it's always like that, but we've seen those games. I mean, there was a game last year where he had like 11 yards on like 12 carries, and then in the third quarter he broke off a 90-yard touchdown run. It's like, okay, and it all looks great, but if you didn't watch the game, you don't know how bad he was behind a bad offensive line early in the game. You just see that he has over 100 yards on 15 carries and a touchdown. So there's some of that. But are they willing to give him that opportunity? How is he in the RPO game? Never done it before.
Yeah.
Never done it before.
We don't know.
We don't know.
I don't recall him doing a lot of zone reads over there.
And I know they took the kid Ali out of Marshall, but right now it's him and Justice Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Justice Hill was terrific last year. Best year of his career.
Yep.
Best
but
year.
You know where he struggled at? Zone read options.
There you go. And that was my point. Struggle with zone read options. People saying that Derrick Henry doesn't catch the ball out of the backfield is like, good, because we don't throw the ball out of the backfield to running backs. So he fits in perfectly. There are questions on the team. Don't wear those purple glasses. You have questions coming into the season. Do I think they'll be a good football team? Yes. Do I think they'll figure things out along the way? They usually do. Do I think the roster is set as it is? Probably not. Probably a veteran coming in here on the pass rush side and maybe even on the offensive line side. We see these cuts, things like that in training camp.
Mm-hmm.
But there are questions. There are questions. Humphrey's another year older.
Yep.
That wasn't the same player. Yep. That wasn't the same player I grew up watching.
Mm-hmm.
He's a different player. We can say the secondary is a strength, and it is because you got some dynamic players. But Humphrey's on the wrong side of it, and I hope he comes back.
Right.
And I hope he's healthy, plays however many games they play these days, 17, 18, 20. And is healthy and all that. But there are questions, and if you're a Ravens fan and you're honestly not asking questions, I don't know where you're at.
Yeah.
Because I don't get it. I don't get it.
Sure. For sure.
Oh, another team that this guy definitely isn't falling for either. Who needs to be an Oriole before July 31st, Reeta?
A pitcher. A good one.
A good one.
Take your pick. I don't have name. I can go. We can go all day. The Rangers pretend that they don't want to have some fire sale, which is completely ridiculous on their end. They have a 10% chance, according to MLB.com, of making the playoffs. You got guys whose contracts are expiring. You're a fool if you think that you have an opportunity to compete in this landscape. With just the AL East alone, got 3 teams that could potentially make the playoffs. You're not going to get in there. Okay, so figure it out, or go down the street, look at the Nationals. They got a couple of guys that potentially are decent as well. I know, people like the guy from Detroit. Whatever. I don't know what you need to do, but you need to find a pitcher. Maybe it ain't just one either. That's the problem. You need to find multiple. And you need to do some soul searching, too, while you're at it. And I know you asked me about trade deadline, but maybe at the trade deadline, you need to figure out what it is that you want to do. Do you want to be the best, the team that hit the most home runs, or do you want to actually win baseball games? Because I think you forget that once you don't hit home runs, you don't know how to play. What they did last night was disgusting and nasty. And then I read some stats from June. The Orioles got a problem. And I understand that they're going to be good, and from a record perspective, we're going to sit here and be excited about it. They're not going to win the World Series currently with how they play ball on both sides. And we got to be honest about that. And so they need to figure it out. But first things first, they need to find two pitchers. I would like it to be two starters, and we can add a couple of guys back down to the bullpen. But if you can get a bullpen and a starter, okay, that's good. But the way that they're playing ball right now, y'all, it's nasty, nasty business. The way that they're leading guys on base and the percentage of which. I think they're not even batting 200. They didn't even bat 200 in the month of June. Nasty, with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, it's look. The month of June, I'm gonna be honest with you. I agree with everything. I'm gonna give them a pass. Since June
21st, friend. Forget the whole month. Since June 21st to now, they are first with the percentage of people left on base.
Oh, they are. I mean, yesterday we opened the show that way. I said, last night was one of those nights that shows you the problem. It's like they don't know how to play small ball at times. They're always waiting for the 3-run homer. And for the most part, I mean, again, this is a first-place team, and it's a team that is going to be in the playoffs, okay, unless something tragic. But to your point, and it's a perfect point, they're not winning the World Series how they're currently built. And I think offensively they'll be okay. I think they need to refocus. I think this is a tired ball club after what they went through in the month of June. I just think they're tired right now. But the pitching side of it, I think you got to get 2 starters and a reliever in here. And because you can say all you want about you think Coulombe, how are we saying his name?
Coulombe. Yeah.
Coulombe.
You got it.
Coulombe. September, you keep telling me he's going to be right in September. Okay. But that means he hasn't pitched in 3 months. So I don't want to hear he's going to be the savior. I hope he is. But you need an arm between now and then. I'm bringing Scott home again from Miami. I'm bringing Scott home. He shouldn't cost anything major. I left-handed arm that throws 100 miles an hour. I want more guys that throw 100 miles an hour. Every team we face, they got guys coming out of the bullpen throwing 100 miles an hour. We don't.
The Orioles, I saw a stat last week. It was the Orioles had one pitcher this season that has thrown a pitch of 100 miles an hour.
Who? Perez?
Remember Thiago Vieira?
Oh, him?
Yeah.
Oh, no,
I don't record.
No, I don't remember him because he should have never been here in the first place. You're like, see, that's where they are with the pitching. They have signed people this year that nobody wants, and they're like, oh, well, we'll throw him in for a day. It's like, oh, nobody wanted him. Why? Because he can't throw the ball over the plate.
That's a shame.
It's a shame. But you know what? We used to say this, and I said this. I was like, this is better than the alternative. We're July 11th. We're talking about the Orioles. We're talking about the Ravens. Training camp's around the corner, and we don't have to worry about that. That's the only thing going on because the Orioles are relevant. And I will never trade it, but they need to make some moves, and they need to get to the All-Star break and refresh themselves. I'm glad Kimbrel isn't going. He deserved to go to the All-Star game. I'm glad he's not going. I don't want him. I want him to go rest, relax. I really wanted Burns to say, you know what, I just had twins. I'm going to go home. I don't need to play in the All-Star game. But
he'll start. He deserves it. It'll be cool.
It's not about deserving it or not.
Yeah.
I don't care about the All-Star game.
I do. I want every single Oriole to start.
I don't care. I don't care. I hope they don't play.
I want my whole team there.
No, I don't care.
Gunnar better win the Derby. He better.
Why?
Because.
Who cares?
I care. It'll be awesome.
You know who didn't win the Derby? Adley.
Yeah, but he
was
the
a superstar.
He was.
He doesn't need to win the Derby.
All right,
one round.
If Gunnar does
put
something
on a
like
show.
that.
1 round. We're done. Let's go out. Everybody. I bet you more people remember what Adley did than
Gunnar,
who won it last year.
But if Gunnar hits 3 500-footers but loses in the first round,
great,
I guess I'd be okay with that.
Put on a show and go somewhere. Go somewhere and relax.
Yeah.
I don't want you running 4 rounds, killing yourself. You know what I want you to do? With 2 strikes, I want you to shorten your swing and hit the ball to left field. That's what I want Gunnar to do. Looking at strike 3 all freaking night. Drives me nuts.
Complain about Gunnar Henderson.
He looks at strike 3 too much. He's not perfect. I hope they give him a blank check. But he's not perfect. We're allowed criticism. We're allowed criticisms of players.
Of course.
Again, blank check. Give that guy what he wants. I don't care. He needs to be an Oriole for life.
Right.
But with 2 strikes, not only Gunnar, but the entire team, get the bat off your shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Hit the ball the other way. You know what they're trying to do. We're 90-plus games in. You know what they're trying to do. They're trying to not get the ball down and into the lefties so you can rip it over a wall. So hit the ball to left field.
Mm-hmm.
You want him to win the All-Star. You want all these players. I want him to go. I want him to go refresh, sit by a pool for a couple days.
Baseball players.
Do the daddy daycare stuff for a couple days and come back and take put the Rangers out of their misery.
We saw how that did for them, going into the ALDS. So keep. I want to keep the fire.
Different. Keep the fire. They're lost right now. Did you just hear what Serena said? They're lost. Their approach is off.
They got to keep playing to figure it out.
Well, I mean, you would hope that I would have liked by the All-Star break for them to have figured it out. But here we are, not figured out.
They're figuring it out. I mean, you're a little too gloomy on them. A little too much. I mean, they're first place.
No, I'm thinking, so you can be gloomy on the Ravens and then be honest, but I can't be gloomy on the Orioles and then not be honest because what I'm saying is true.
No, I said what you're saying is true. They need to make moves. But the way
I did not say that they weren't going to win a World Series. I said they're not going to do that with the way that they're currently.
Correct. The way they're currently built, they're not.
That's a fact.
But
That's
but they're good enough. They're good enough to get into the playoffs with the way they're built.
Sure, I didn't say that. I literally believe the Orioles will make it to the playoffs. They made it to the playoffs last year with 101 wins, and they got swept.
They did. That's why I want them to recharge. That's why I want them to recharge the All-Star break. And I don't need them to win 101 games. Just get in. Get in. Figure it all out while you know you're in. I go into to a 3-game series, and I got Burns, Rodriguez, and somebody we trade for. I feel good.
Yeah.
I feel good. We'll continue right along. Get a couple days off. You go same 3 again. Let's go. 4 days rest. Everybody gets 4 days rest in the playoffs. None of this 5 and 6 day stuff. And if you sweep teams, you get extra days off. Figure it all out.
Well, that ain't gonna never happen because the Orioles don't like sweeping nobody. So.
Only the White Sox.
Yeah, the White Sox.
Only the White Sox. Yeah.
Only the White Sox.
Okay, my friend.
Not even the A's.
My friend, tell me the top 5 places that we can find you.
Top 5?
Yeah. Well, I know there's like 20, so give me 5.
Oh God. I'm on. Of course, Glenn and I are on 105.7 The Fan on Tuesday nights and Sundays starting at 12. Tuesday nights either 6:30 or 7. And then Sundays at 12. Of course, you can find me on Twitter or Instagram at the NFL Chick. And then, I'm trying to figure out what my next write-up is going to be for the Baltimore beat. But hopefully it's probably going to have something to do with I'm tired of y'all falling for the banana in the tailpipe. I really am.
Love it. Love it. She is the best. She is Reeta Hubbard, the NFL Chick. Follow her everywhere. Read her writing. See her on YouTube. Listen to her on 105.7 The Fan. And she's a great follow on Twitter, even though I don't know what that is anymore. Thank you, my dear. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Talk to you soon.
There she goes. Reeta Hubbard, the NFL chick. By the way, today is Thursday, right? I don't know what day it is. See, I work in a school, so my summers are off. So I really don't know what day it is during the summer until August. But Stan the Fan, every Monday you can catch him talking baseball with Ross Grimsley and Luke Jackson. And tonight, because every Thursday Stan is talking prospects, Orioles prospects with Eric Garfield. Check that out. The shows air live at facebook.com/PressBoxSports, and you can catch them on demand at PressBoxOnline.com/video or YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline. I usually don't watch it live, but I love him and Eric Garfield.
Mm-hmm.
I love to hear about the prospects, especially the ones we don't know that are a little bit deeper.
Eric always does a great job.
Eric does a great job. It's a fantastic listen. If you can't catch it live, head over to PressBoxOnline.com, or you can always catch it on YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline. Taking a break?
Yes, we will take a break.
And when we come back,
Bub Carrington will join us.
Drafted by the
Wizards from Baltimore, St. Francis. He went to Pitt for a year, and we'll talk to him about what it's like getting drafted.
Sounds good. You're listening to Glenn Clark Radio on PressBox Sports.
Treat yourself and taste the Baltimore tradition that is the legendary Costas Inn. Hey, it's Stan the Fan Charles. For over 50 years, the Costas Inn has been a Baltimore original, dishing out their legendary fat, delicious, award-winning crab cakes and steamed crabs. It's crab season, so sit back and crack some crabs while watching the Birds pursue another divisional title on Costas's 15 TVs. On Monday night, the Costas Inn offers their half-pound jumbo lump crab cake with 2 sides for under $30. So head on down to the Costas Inn today at 4100 North Point Boulevard or visit them at CostasInn.com.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Discover one of Baltimore's hidden gems at Guilford Hall Brewery. Enjoy dinner in our spacious brew pub, sip a signature cocktail in our outdoor dog-friendly beer garden, or take a tour of our brewery. Discover your new favorite local craft beer. From crisp lagers to hoppy ales, there's something for everyone to enjoy. Pair your brew with delicious appetizers and entrees. There are options for the whole family, but you have to try our fan-favorite giant pretzel. Guilford Hall Brewery, where every sip is a celebration. Visit us online at guilfordhall.com.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
The drug scene in Maryland is changing. Fentanyl and xylazine are being added to street drugs, and you may not even know it. Xylazine is not even intended for humans, and fentanyl is an opioid 50 times stronger than heroin, and contributed to over 80% of overdose deaths in our state. Anyone who uses drugs, even occasionally, is at risk of overdose. To learn more, visit stopoverdose.maryland.gov or call or text 988.
There he is, Agent 00 Chicken. Nothing can keep him from Royal Farms Chicken Palooza. Because right now, he can get a 3-piece world-famous chicken box for just $8 with a portion of each sale donated to a local charity. Plus, register to win world-famous chicken for a year. Come to Royal Farms Chicken Palooza. It's a real thriller, but it's only for a limited time. Real fresh, real fast, Royal Farms.
The The latest edition of Press Box is available now, and on the cover, Glenn Clark and Stan the Fan Charles sit down for a sports conversation with Maryland Governor Wes Moore, discussing the Orioles and Ravens stadium leases, the future of horse racing in Maryland, and how his own football career at Johns Hopkins shaped him as a leader. This is also our annual travel issue with information about sports tourism opportunities in Maryland for your family to take advantage of throughout the summer. Press Box is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the O's, Ravens, and Terps.
One of the things that's definitely wrong with this country is that this dude still has a job somehow, some way. Glenn Clark.
Who's probably right now on he is on a family vacation. But I know he's watching this tennis match because it's, God, the first semifinal. He's in a third set tiebreak, and they're tied at 6-6 in the third. First lady to 10, win by 2. It's been a fantastic match.
It has.
It has.
I'm glad you threw it on.
You don't care.
I mean,
You have no caring.
These two.
This is Wimbledon.
It's not Coco. It's not, it's not Emma
This is
Navarro.
Wimbledon.
It's not Iga.
If there is any sporting event that before I leave,
it's not Serena.
This is great tennis.
It is great tennis. Yeah. But
this is like
it's not.
It's only the first semifinal. There's
Neither's
another
an American.
match.
I haven't heard of either of these two women before this week.
Because you don't follow tennis.
Well, no, correct. Yeah.
This has been a great
I
match.
wanted it to be Coco. This was supposed to be Coco.
It was
when Iga lost, it was supposed to be Coco's year.
It was, but she lost to her friend. That happens.
Yeah.
By the way, high school sports is off for the summer, even though it's really not off because as someone who works in high school sports, I've been building schedules. But that's good for the county sports zone because they never take a break. They have the latest on college commitments, coaching changes, and previews for fall sports season. Check out countysportszone.com right now. CSZ is proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer, and buyatoyota.com. Always enjoy seeing Friends School of Baltimore in the county sports zone. Had a good fall last year. Hopefully we'll have a good fall this year.
Are you going to be able to, if they don't, it'll be on you, right? So,
well, no, because
No?
I don't
No?
I don't coach in the fall.
What do you coach?
I just coach softball these days.
Oh,
I used
okay.
to
I thought you
to
were
coach.
heavily involved in the soccer.
I serve more as like a general manager for the girls soccer program than anything.
You're like a consultant and like
that's exactly the word I would use. I am a consultant. We have a fabulous soccer coach going into her second year, Marcella Robinson. In her first year, she won the IAM championship, and because of that, we got bumped up in conference, and we have a good young team, and she's a great young coach who used to play professionally, played for Puerto Rican national team, works with Coppermine Soccer Club. Am I allowed to say all that?
I think so. I mean,
I said it.
Sounds like
what are you gonna do?
Sounds like they're just facts.
What are you
right?
gonna do? What are you gonna do? Fire me? I'm a volunteer.
I'm a consultant.
I'm a volunteer, for God's sake, at Pressbox. What do you want me to do?
Volunteer.
Well, I am. I always love to volunteer for Pressbox. But Glenn Clark had an opportunity to do an interview with one of the Wizards' recent draftees, and you ready for that?
Yes.
Okay, let's take a listen.
Man, it's a pleasure to catch up with our next guest. They call him, of course, Little Bub in order to separate him from his father. He is the pride of St. Francis and was the number 14 pick in the NBA draft by the Washington Wizards. He is Bub Carrington, and he is with us now here on GCR. Bub, it's Glenn. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you for taking the time, and congratulations.
Man, I appreciate that. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate being here.
Have you had a moment yet to like stop and kind of pinch yourself and like realize, oh my gosh, this is real. I'm doing it. I'm living my dream right now. Oh.
I mean, honestly, with the way everything's going, you don't really get one. I feel like I kind of got mine though. Like it's funny you mentioned. I feel like I got mine like last night. Honestly.
Really? What was it about last night?
I I finally was relaxed a little bit. I think we had an off day, fun day. So, I was just kind of relaxed a little bit thinking about it. I was like, yeah, it's kind of crazy.
It's cool. It's so cool. It's so cool. It's all happening for you. Bub, look, man, so much what people know about you, your dad, your family is basketball, right? Like when in your life was the first time that like you remember saying, "Hey, that's the path for me. That's what I want to do. I want to be a basketball player."
I'll probably say when I got to high school, that's when we started kind of like taking it seriously, kind of realizing that I can have a future in this, or if you just work for it every day. And we kind of made that decision ourselves.
Was basketball always the passion for you even before then? Like, did you always know that was your first love?
Yes, from being around it so much, I fell in love with it. But honestly, I guess my like stubbornness or arrogance, I always thought I was better at baseball, so I kind of tried to stick with that for a little bit.
Wait a second. Was it ever difficult for you? Like, was there a moment where it really like actually pained you to have to like give up focusing on baseball in order to just put everything into basketball?
Yeah, it hurt me, man. It hurt me. So that was nice.
I guess we can say now it worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, the decision was for the best. Bub, so take me back right to high school, and like I know, from the stuff that I do with St. Francis football, I know Coach Miles really well. What was it that maybe most accelerated? Obviously, some of it is just natural, God-given talent, but what most do you think accelerated you from enjoying basketball and thinking you can do it to turning yourself into the number 14 pick in the NBA draft?
I would say, like, when you're, junior, senior year of high school, and even in college, just having that, like, mental discipline, knowing that every day counts, every day matters, so you got to make the most of it. So I feel like when, during those times in my life, I continue to just kind of keep that tunnel vision, focus on the next day, the next drill, the next rep, whatever the case may be, and realize that that next level is a very real possibility if you got to have a certain discipline for it, though.
You have been around so many basketball players in your life. Obviously, we talk about your dad and him being a high-level coach, your cousins, I was just talking to Muggsy Bogues last week, and he was talking to me about you, right? Like, what has that done for you to have so many influences, the Rudy Gays, the Mellos? How has that helped you on your path to this moment?
I think it's helped me mentally, just knowing a lot more. I feel like just being around those guys, obviously having conversations with those guys, they're always constantly spilling knowledge, giving me little bits and pieces to be a better basketball player or a better man, whatever the case may be, Like it just kind of always put me on a different level mentally than most of my peers that maybe didn't have those kind of role models or figures in their life.
Is there any one guy that you still talk to the most or that you run things off of the most, or are you kind of at the point where you have to kind of be your own man at this point?
I would say it's mainly like, internal.
Okay.
Just looking in within myself if I ever need an answer, whatever the case may be. But I do have Rudy and Melo, they're kind of always in my corner. They'll reach out to me, once a week, or it'll even be some days at a time, or whatever, whatever the case may be. They're always there.
Wow, man, that's not a bad combination of guys to be able to reach out to. Not a bad duo. We're chatting with Bub Carrington, of course, first round pick of the Washington Wizards, St. Francis alum here on GCR. Bub, I was thinking about this a minute ago, right? Like you and Angel, and even let's throw in like Chris Braswell, Blake Corum. And I know you're not all the same age; you're a little bit younger than the rest of them. But this year for St. Francis athletes going pro and the accomplishments of you all, like, have you had a moment to think about the significance of that and what it says about a very small school and a program that has been through so much when it comes to St. Francis?
Yeah, I connected with my coach, my high school coach, recently about it. We were kind of just chatting a little bit at my draft night about it. Like, it's definitely amazing. It's a blessing to have a little school in Baltimore City that's like 200 kids in the school maybe that can have people go to the greatest heights that some people would call. So like it's definitely an amazing feeling to be a part of that, and I'm appreciative of it and the people that helped me get here.
So you mentioned the people that help you get here. We saw like it seemed like your entire family, almost an entire neighborhood, made the trip up to the NBA draft. How cool was that to have so many people there with you to celebrate?
Yeah, that was definitely an amazing feeling, having that village, like you said, behind me.
Dude, it was powerful. It was powerful to see it. So the fact that it ends up being Washington, right? Like for people that aren't from here, like they might think like, well, you get to stay home. They don't understand that Washington isn't home. Like these are two very different places, but it's as close as home as you can possibly be. When you found out it was Washington, what did that mean to you that you knew that that village was going to be able to be there for you at every step moving forward?
I was like, I don't have enough tickets, honestly.
I imagine that you've gotten you gotten a few requests, I'm assuming.
Yeah, definitely. You know how that could probably get.
But seriously though, the idea that it's going to be right here, and I know you've had a couple of weeks to adjust to it, but like, I mean, how much of a blessing is that for you?
So a huge blessing. I mean, I don't think you could think of anything negative to say to be close to your parents, to play in front of them. So
it's awesome, man. To come in this youth in DC, and the three of you that were all first-round picks, right? What kind of opportunity do you feel like you have to be a part of the group that turned this franchise around?
It's a challenge. It's one thing Will, our GM, and our head coach have been mentioning. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a fight. But it's something that all three of us talked about. We know it, and we're just going to attack it, make the most of the opportunity.
Did you, like, again, I think there's this conception around the country that, like, people in Baltimore are all Wizards fans, and that's not always the case. Did you grow up, did you, like, root for the Wizards at all? Were you, like, more rooting for where, like, Melo was or Rudy was or guys like that?
I always kept up with the Wizards because of how close they were, but I wouldn't necessarily have called myself, like, a diehard fan.
I understand that, and I think that is very similar to how a lot of folks are in our city. Like, yeah, they're there, and I imagine that's now your goal is to change that, right? Like, you want to make the next generation of kids become Wizards fans because of Bub Carrington.
Exactly.
There you go, man. That's the way that it goes. That sounds really good to me. Bub, what's your focus now? Like, everything that you've accomplished to this point, right? Like, it's an amazing accomplishment to be a first-round pick, but it's also still very much just the beginning. What are the priorities for you as you try to transition your game to the next level?
The main thing that's on my mind is just being the best me. Just bring it, because you're in the NBA now, you're in the locker room for a lot of grown men, so it's not necessarily like keeping up with others because they're going to keep up with themselves. It's more like making sure you're the best you, that you can show up every day and really contribute to your, be a winning piece on a winning team.
Were you able to do anything for anyone, like take care of somebody, do something like that, or spend something on yourself after you signed the deal?
Yes. My mom and my dad, they are not shy when it comes to asking for things. So
what'd you get them?
Been really generous to them. It's been a plethora of things. We don't have time for that list, but just know they've been well taken care of.
That's awesome. Bub Carrington, we're so happy for you, man. Congratulations. Best of luck now with the Washington Wizards. We can't wait to be checking in with you as you go along in this path in the NBA. Thank you for spending the time with us this morning.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
There he is. Washington Wizards at the 14th pick? I
think he was the 17th?
Something like that.
Or was he the 14th?
I think he was the 14th.
Might be right. You might be right.
Bub Carrington, by way of St. Francis. perfect place to be drafted into, because you will have plenty of opportunity to make an impact. And I wonder, he should get lots of experience this year. And if you are the Washington Wizards and you are a fan of the Washington Wizards, I hope
if there's any left, yeah.
I hope they suck for one more year, and they get the number 1 overall pick.
You like what they're saying for this upcoming season? Capture the flag.
Love it. Because if you're an organization like the Wizards, who have been bad for a while, and they kept on trying to tiptoe that line of, are we trying to make the playoffs, or are we trying? Just be bad. Be bad. Be historically bad. And hope the ping pong ball goes your way. And then next year, then you start to make
a
move.
guy.
Now you got a guy, you got a franchise guy, and you got a guy people are going to want to play with. Now you're talking about something. Can't have the number 2 pick next year. Can't have the number 2 pick next year.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably right.
You got to have the number 1 pick.
There could be good players still.
It's not about good players.
Maybe there's a Luka in there. Or
there's the player.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you.
There's the player. I mean, the kid's special.
If they mess around and win 20 games by accident this year,
shame on them.
Yeah,
everybody should be fired.
Because the Nets are going to be trying hard.
This should be a development year for all these kids. Like, I don't care.
Let all these kids play.
Let them all play.
Give them a week or so where they each play, 45 minutes.
Why
a game
is Kuzma on this roster? I mean, I'm serious. If you are,
shouldn't be for long. I don't think.
Get him out of here.
It was so weird with Kuzma. Re-signed last year, and,
right?
And he said he wanted to see this through.
Right,
that was
good.
In a tweet
glad.
last year.
I hope you do. You should say that, because you're the best player on a bad team. Get him out of here. Go help it.
And you mean that, but with all due respect.
It has nothing to do with him. It has to do with your franchise. It has to do with your franchise. If you want to build your franchise, trade him for a late round pick to some team that has a chance that he could be a role player with. Because he's a good player.
The Lakers might need him.
Lakers need anybody. I mean, they have Bronny now, so they'll be okay.
That's true. So maybe
they'll be fine. I mean,
what if the Wizards get Bronny back and
whatever? I mean, let's call it what it is. We all know why he was drafted there. I mean, come on.
He's a good basketball player.
No, he's not.
I mean,
wait, yes, he is. Sorry.
He's not.
He wasn't.
He's not an NBA player.
He wasn't one of the top 55. Okay. But that's fine. I mean, you do that for LeBron. That's fine. But let's call it what it is. I hope he's very successful. I hope he is.
Mm-hmm. I do too. Hopefully he can play for 2 years, I guess.
However,
get
LeBron can play for as long as he wants to play. Let him play for as long as he wants.
Everyone on the Team USA team said that he was the best player on the team.
Sure. Yeah. I don't. He's a freak. He's one of the top 2 players in the history of the league.
Yeah,
not the top.
I agree.
He's
I mean,
second.
I agree.
Second, third, top 5.
It's because I'm young. He's the greatest basketball player I've seen. Like my entire life has been LeBron James.
Yeah, but I mean, right? Sure. He's not Jordan. He'll never be Jordan. To me, I mean, it doesn't take away from how great of a basketball player, and it's almost unfair because they're different players.
Right.
They were different types of players. I mean, Jordan just came in at a time that you had Magic and Bird, and it's just like, oh, okay, you're old news now. Bye. It is what it is. It's a dumb argument. We all have these dumb arguments. Lists are dumb. We all like them, and we all love them. It's good for debate. It's great for sports radio. But lists are dumb. It's all perspective. Like your perspective is completely different than mine. Mm-hmm. And the first time I ever saw Jordan live, he was playing for the Wizards. I never saw him live when he was at his peak.
Right.
And he scored 28 points in the first half of the game. I mean, it's unfreaking believable. I don't even know how old he was, but obviously tail end of his
Had to be
career.
38, 39, right?
Absolutely unreal at his age what he did the day I went and saw him play. And the only reason I went to the Wizards game was to see him play. It's like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see him play. And he was phenomenal. So we got left. Well, we got tidbit, tubular.
We do.
Do we need to take a break before that?
We do need to take a break before that.
Okay.
And you said you were going to make a list of your top trade deadline, right? Your top trade deadline targets.
I didn't say that, but I can.
Okay. Or we can do a list of your top U.S. men's national team head coaching,
it doesn't matter.
Vacancy fillers.
Somebody that's not American. How's that? Anybody that's not American.
Okay.
Anybody that's not American.
Klopp is the popular choice.
If he would do it, that's a great. They need a different mentality. And why? How do you fire somebody and rehire the same guy? like it was idiotic. It's not going to work. I whatever. I'm glad it's gone. I'm glad he's gone. Wish him well. But a change needs to be made. There's two.
Greg Berhalter, by the way, this is the
Greg
news.
Berhalter.
Yes, yesterday Greg Berhalter was officially, I guess, relieved of his duties as the men's national team head coach in soccer, the U.S. men's national team.
As he should be. There's too much talent. But soccer is too popular in the United States, and there's too many international players now that can come back. And for you not to make it work, how you can't find two center backs is beyond me. You know, how you can't find, this is really tough for me because I like him, a better goalkeeper is beyond me. And I love Turner. I love how hard he worked to get to where he is. And it's not just his fault. Like, for years, they've struggled with goalkeepers. And I watch goalkeepers very closely because my son is one who plays in college. And so when we're watching everything else, I'm watching goalkeepers. So I just, it needs to be better. And you got 2 years to figure it out because you're hosting the Olympics.
Do you think they can? Like, is there any chance they can go on a run in 2026?
Yes, because they have the talent. They have talent. You just need to have somebody that understands how to use the talent and is not afraid to go younger. You know, we'll see. We'll see what the Olympics have. I mean, because none. You forget
it's 23. Okay.
It's you forget like the men's national. I don't even know how many, if any, that are on the quote unquote men's national team are playing in the Olympics. There should be a couple.
Yeah, like Walker Zimmerman, I know, was on there.
Yeah, like there's a couple, but you should be able to see how the youth handles themselves. I feel that they're old in certain spaces. Their center backs are terrible. And the philosophy of what they like to do and how they're taught, you can just tell it just doesn't work. You can't always play in the back. You can't dribble in the back. And they do it too much, and they lose the freaking ball, and they get goals scored upon. And whatever it is, it's every kid plays soccer in this country. Like it's so, you look at these clubs around. Every state has them in the tournaments and the college level. Stop pulling from the MLS. If your highest degree of success in soccer is in the MLS, you shouldn't be on the national team. There's enough players that are playing internationally at high levels. Pull from those guys. They're playing the best soccer. People come and retire at the MLS. It's great that Messi's there. People get to see him play if you can afford it.
Some people get to.
Some people get to see him play. We were going to try to get. He was in New York, and they were playing the Red Bulls, and we looked up tickets, and the cheapest ticket was $600. Oh
my god!
And I'm like, and I said to my son, I'm like, there are things like we could try to go.
TV cameras these days, they're so good.
Well, we try to go to events, and we try I mean, he named my cat, one of my cats, Messi because he just again, his age, greatest soccer player that he's ever seen, and top two for me that I've ever seen. I'm sadly old enough that I saw Pele
Sadly, you got to see Pele.
Well, I got to see Pele play.
And Jordan.
You know, I'm old. It's okay.
And Unitas and like.
I didn't get to see.
Oh, you didn't
Unitas
get to.
play.
Oh, sorry.
I'm not
sorry,
that
sorry,
old.
sorry,
Not that
sorry.
old. I start with Burt Jones. I don't go back to Unitas. What was Unitas' last year in the NFL? 72, 3.
That might have been even a little too far. I'll tell you.
Yeah, it's early. I want to say early 70s.
It was 73. All right,
Okay.
yeah.
So
with the San Diego Chargers.
Right.
I don't know who they are.
I was 5. It's the San Diego Chargers. You
Yeah.
know who they are. Herbert's their quarterback.
San Diego?
San Diego.
Herbert, he's the Los Angeles Chargers
No,
quarterback.
they're always San Diego. But I was 5, so yeah, I mean,
Okay,
it's a
yeah,
little too much. If I did see him play, I don't remember seeing him play. Let's put it that way. If I was ever taken to a game as a little child, I don't remember it. But yeah, I mean, Messi's great, but he's at the tail end of his career and he's making a bunch of money, you know, in the MLS. He would never play the MLS at the height of his career.
Mm-hmm.
So why are you choosing? Why is our center back the highest in an MLS? It doesn't make sense. Get better players. Coach them up. Okay, so we're going to take a break.
You throwing your name in the hat then? You know, KZ?
I would love to
coach
them.
KZ.
They're easy. Soccer's not hard. It's not hard.
What formation do you run?
My favorite formation is a 3-5-2.
Okay.
You have to have the players to do it.
Yeah.
You have to have the outside backs, and you have to have a strong center back. But you can morph into any formation
from that.
Like I could easily sit back in a, you know, if I'm up, I can make it a 5-3-2 very easily. I can go to a 4-4-2. I can go 4-1-4-1 and not change personnel on the field, just change their responsibilities very easily. Okay. But to start that way, the key to me is you have to have the outside backs that have to be Energizer bunnies and understand they have to be two-way players and get back defensively. It's not all about the offense. And you have to communicate really well on the field that if I'm forward, somebody else has to drop back and not get caught on the break. And, you know, it's my favorite formation to play. But you have to have the right personnel, and you have to coach it the right way. But when I've had the opportunity to play that, that's my formation.
All right.
So yes,
that's how they win the World Cup.
Yes, KZ is a soccer geek. Sorry, been around it a long time. Coached it, parent through it. Now I'm just a fan. I just get to watch and cringe. You know,
along with everyone.
Well, at the high school level, I mean, I
guess
I live and die by my women's soccer team in the fall, every game, and I go to all my son's soccer games. And as a goalie dad,
that can't be.
It is nerve-wracking. It is nerve-wracking because you're just, you know, it is what it is. They're you know, being a goalie in anything. Parents understand. You're on an island by yourself. I don't sit near other parents. I don't want to hear it. You don't understand it unless your kid's a goalie.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it is what it is. You know, the parents on his college team are great. I just can't. I can't listen. I don't want to hear because it's easy to criticize goalies because they give up goals.
Yeah,
and it's not always their fault. It's not always their fault. You know. Turner's half 50-50. Some are his fault.
He seems good.
He's good. His distribution is terrible.
Okay.
So
when you say distribution,
when he has the ball at his feet or in his hand,
and
he's sending it out, I don't think it's good enough. It's not at a high enough level. His shot making is very good. His shot stopping, I should say, is very good. But the best goalies in the world are great with their feet. And their distribution is fantastic. And he turns the ball over too much in the offensive, his defensive third, so the other team's offensive third, and midfield. And, you know, that's what it is, you know. So, That's what it is. Well, let's take our final break.
I'll update. So since we're on soccer, the Euros and Copa going on, obviously, we did have a little side contest, our Mayo Dog thing.
Right.
Yes, that fortunately you got out
Well,
of.
I didn't get out.
Right, you were willing. You were willing. Well,
I just want to.
You weren't worming out of it.
I did not.
Yeah.
I said because
we weren't sure if we were going to get 8 people
at the time. The time, you didn't know. You reached out to me, and I said I was willing to do it.
Yes.
But then you got back to me and said you'd already filled it. I'm like, wasn't upset about it. Wasn't upset about it.
I think KZ's text said, "Thank God."
Yes,
I
was
there was
good
no
with
way
it.
I was eating.
No, it's
five
not Mayo hot dogs. No, not the way you all use.
I think it's
mayo.
gonna be Jeremy Kahn. It's gonna be Jeremy Kahn.
Well,
actually, unfortunately,
Jeremy's built for that.
I thought I might have had a chance to like kind of sneak up because I had Netherlands in the pool, so they were looking for I guess 15 minutes, and then
well, you know when
and then
VAR calls a ridiculous PK. I mean, it's not a penalty. I that's the problem with soccer. It's like the same problem with instant replay. It's like who's looking at that and saying it's a penalty? It's not a penalty. It's two people going for the ball, and the ball had already. It didn't affect his shot. It's a terrible call.
Yeah, so England beat. They had a 9. Well, they had that PK. That was like the 20th minute.
20th minute,
yeah.
and then the late
90th minute winner.
Most brilliant substitutions in the face of soccer to put Palmer and Watkins on, who are, by the way, two of the best offensive players in all the world, and within 2 minutes they connect to score a goal.
And then who is he on Spain? The 16-year-old
Spain.
What's his name? I guess I shouldn't be asking you. Yeah.
I know his name, but
I'm not gonna because I can't.
But he's, as my son says, he goes, he's going to be the best player in the world.
Lamine Yamal.
Yeah,
does that sound right?
He's going to be the best player in the world very soon.
Okay, I mean 16. I mean that was unbelievable.
Oh,
the
great shot. Great shot.
And then Colombia with playing pretty much 10 men down, felt like the whole game.
Over 50 minutes.
Yeah. And I had Colombia as well, so that's why I was like, oh, I might have a chance to win in this thing, but yeah, with Netherlands losing, I don't think I have a chance anymore. So it looks like Glenn somehow rigged it so that he's going to win because he has Spain.
He has Spain
in the pool, so he's going to.
But do you get who's he got in the Copa?
He's got that's the only one he had left. That's his only
So
yeah,
nobody
he had like Mexico and Canada.
So nobody has 2 in the finals.
Nobody has 2 in the final.
Gotcha.
So I have Colombia, but I'm 10 points behind Glenn. So I think
Okay.
there's only 5 points available in the final. So yeah, I can't catch him.
How's there only 5 points available? It's supposed to go the other way, right?
You get 5 for winning, or maybe 6. Maybe we get 6 for winning
okay.
the final. Yeah. Like you get an extra point, a bonus point for each round. So Shell, okay, Ryan Shell might if Spain were to lose, Ryan Shell has Argentina, and he's 5 behind Glenn.
Well, he has a chance then.
Yes, and then I think then Kyle Ottenheimer has England, but he's 10 behind, so I think he's out of it. Yeah, all right. So potentially Shell, if the right scenario happens. Yes, that is your Euro Copa Mayo Dog update. So now we can take our final break, Casey.
Okay, we'll take our final break. We'll come back with a list of my top 10 trade targets,
Perfect.
and we'll do some tidbit, we'll do some tubular, we'll close out the show. You're listening to Glenn Clark Radio.
Escape to Ocean City, Maryland, and discover a place that just feels lighter, where every day feels like Saturday, and French fries are a food group, where flip-flops are always in fashion, and seafood is always in season, where the boardwalk is bustling, and the beach is right outside your door, where you can rise with the tide and feel like a kid again. Ocean City, Maryland, somewhere to smile about. Book your trip at OCOcean.com.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
The ultimate fan experience awaits you at Sports and Social Maryland. See how we're raising the sports bar with our massive 100-foot media wall featuring 40 HD TVs and a 47-foot big screen. Bet on your favorite teams and this year's biggest events at the FanDuel Sportsbook while enjoying your favorite beers and cocktails, plus our delicious takes on bar food classics. Visit Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland at Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Discover one of Baltimore's hidden gems at Guilford Hall Brewery. Enjoy dinner in our spacious brew pub, sip a signature cocktail in our outdoor, dog-friendly beer garden, or take a tour of our brewery. Discover your new favorite local craft beer. From crisp lagers to hoppy ales, there's something for everyone to enjoy. Pair your brew with delicious appetizers and entrees. There are options for the whole family, but you have to try our fan-favorite giant pretzel. Guilford Hall Brewery, where every sip is a celebration. Visit us online at guilfordhall.com.
The drug scene in Maryland is changing. Fentanyl and xylazine are being added to street drugs, and you may not even know it. Xylazine is not even intended for humans, and fentanyl is an opioid 50 times stronger than heroin and contributed to over 80% of overdose deaths in our state. Anyone who uses drugs, even occasionally, is at risk of overdose. To learn more, visit stopoverdose.maryland.gov or call or text 988.
Frederick Keys baseball is back. With 30 more home games beginning on July 2nd, the Keys are excited to welcome you back to Nimio Field at Harry Grove Stadium. We want to see you there. Countless promotions will be on display every game, with it ranging from Tap House Tuesdays to Firework Fridays and everything in between. For more information or to buy tickets, call 301-815-9939 or visit frederickkeys.com today.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from driveeasymd.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. There, you just saved money with Easy Pass, all without slowing or receiving a notice in the mail. Well done, thrifty driver, well done. Get your Easy Pass at driveeasymd.com.
The Ed Block Courage Award Foundation has been working in partnership with the NFL for 46 years to support abused, neglected, and at-risk youth across the country, partnering each team with a children's facility or program that supports the well-being of those in need. Annually, one player from each team is selected by their peers to receive the Courage Award for their inspiration on and off the field. Learn more about how the Ed Block Courage Award Foundation makes a difference, and be sure to check out their latest podcast and web series episodes at edblock.org.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
And we're back. Glenn Clark Show. KZ wrapping it up here. What are we doing first? What do you want to do first?
We can do if it looks like you were working on your
I got a list
in no particular order.
Well, my first four are in a particular order, and then there's some names that I just kind of like, and I think would help a little bit.
That works. Jack Flaherty, number one, I assume, on the list.
He is not number one on the list. He is on the list.
He is on the list. Okay.
He is,
you're not anti Jack Flaherty.
He's lower on my list. But I'm not against it. I think he's healthy. Let's put it that way. I know he just had a little back spasm, but I think he was just not healthy, and I think he was disappointed in how he performed here more than anything.
Right.
So I'm not against it.
Okay.
I'm not against it. But that's if you miss out on the top of my list.
Gotcha.
So do we want to do this in order?
I guess so, yeah. Sure. Or descending or ascending order. I guess start at your 10 or 8 or however many names you have written down.
I have 10.
Okay.
I have 10.
All right.
Okay. I don't get so let's do the top 3 first.
Okay.
Because nobody's going to be surprised by these names. And these are wish lists.
Mm-hmm.
Some will cost more than others. But number 1 on my list is Mason Miller. Okay? The reason he's number 1 on my list is of his controllables And number 2, first of all, he feels an immediate need this year in the bullpen. Okay. You have him as your setup guy. I think, that just pushes everybody back one. Cano, Perez, Webb. You still have your closer, Kimbrel. That pushes everybody.
And he can close.
And he can close if on a off day.
Or Kimbrel's already pitched the night before.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have some pieces. And it would take a ton to get him. And I don't know that the Orioles are willing to depart with what you would have to get him. But he would be my number 1 because even going into next year, yeah, we're all looking forward to Bautista, but he is coming off of major surgery.
Mm-hmm.
You could ease him in a little bit easier. Doesn't have to – the way Brandon Hyde, love it or hate it, uses his bullpen. He uses it a lot. He uses it early in the season. These guys are pitching a lot of innings. I don't know that you want to do that right away with Bautista. So it gives you a little bit of, little bit of flexibility
And,
there.
of course, he has triple digits, which –
And he's got control,
Mm-hmm.
We talked about Fetty earlier, Eric Fetty from the White Sox. Him and Garrett Crochet are my next 2. I think either one of those guys solves a problem. Crochet's probably going to cost more than Fetty. But
the big worry with Crochet is since, he's I think he's already at his limit.
It's the arm. It's the how many innings does he have left?
Yes, for this season. Yeah. And for a team that
right.
wants to win a World Series this year,
going into we saw that last year with the Orioles and how they limited some of these guys that were approaching their career highs.
But that's what makes the White Sox so interesting. Just if you do figure out a package for both Crochet and Fetty, then it seems like you have a couple of problems potentially solved there.
So then
maybe even throw Michael. You saw what Kopech did. Michael Kopech did yesterday. The White Sox closer.
So he's on my list.
Oh, yes? Okay.
He's on my list. The rest of my list in no particular order. I mean, I have them in order, but number 10 is Andrew Kittredge.
Oh, okay.
Okay, from Oakland. He's a setup guy.
Kittredge, I think he's with St. Louis, isn't he?
Is he St. Louis?
Yeah, he's with St. Louis.
He's a setup guy for somebody.
Yeah, he's one of the.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's a setup guy. His numbers are terrific this year. Bullpen arm that would solve a problem. I don't know what it would cost.
There's another Oakland guy, Urseg. That's not potentially who you're.
Yeah, I don't have him.
Okay.
Paul Seward.
Paul Seward, yeah.
Seward.
It might be Seward. Yeah.
Seward, however you pronounce it. Michael Kopech is on my list at 7. Tanner Scott is at 6. I skipped a number. Kopech is 7 on my list. Tanner Scott is 6. Jack Flaherty came in at 8 for me.
Okay.
So if you missed out, and the next 2 guys at 4 and 5 are starting pitchers. So if you missed out on any of the starting pitchers, Flaherty would be that next
tier of
next tier. Yeah. Tyler Anderson.
Okay.
From the Angels, having a real good year.
He's having a really good year.
Sub 3 ERA, good control. I think it's like a 1.10
left-hander in Camden Yards.
Yep.
They don't have to worry about Cole Irvin or Povich, maybe even.
And then Kikuchi.
Ooh, now
not a guy that's being talked about, but a whole lot. Kind of like him.
Bassett's been another one that's come up with the Blue Jays.
There's some arms. I mean, we could put 15, 20 names there together.
Since Reeta mentioned the Nationals, like Finnegan, I think would be awesome.
Finnegan, would
just because he can close.
Hunter Harvey was really good early. He's had a couple of scuffles the last 3 weeks. But did somebody figure him out? He would fit in perfectly. They all love him.
Yeah.
Bring them all back.
He and Mountcastle can go back to roommates.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I mean, I think you need some arms, and there's no, I don't have any. I mean, all everything's an arm for me.
Right. Like Flaherty's 8 on that list, but like any of those guys.
Yeah, I mean,
instantly make this team.
If Flaherty comes here back and is what he's been doing this year in Detroit, sign me up.
Mm-hmm.
He's leading strikeouts. He's got a sub 3 ERA. I mean, come on. Kyle Gibson just missed the list for me. I took him off the list.
Tarek Skubal not on.
I don't think they're trading.
You just
him.
don't think he's available? Okay.
I don't think he's available. I really don't. What if you're the Tigers? Why would you trade him? Like, you've made strides this year, right? If you're the Tigers,
A few, yeah.
I mean, he's young. I mean, he's on the. Yeah, he would. I just don't think he's
right.
These are guys I think could be traded. I don't think they're trading him.
Okay.
I mean,
when he's leading, when he's like the Cy Young favorite right now, it's hard to imagine.
I mean, are you trading? I mean, or if you're the Tigers, are you trading him?
If the Orioles,
if he's
I guess
not
it
part
had
of
to
the
be an
rebuild,
extreme situation. But if it's the Orioles calling, and we know what the Orioles,
who you starting with? If you're, you know who you're starting with.
Yeah,
you're asking for Holiday.
Mm-hmm. So it is tough. It is tough.
Would you trade Holiday?
I don't think so. Like, I don't know what the return is, but yeah, like
if
no,
you got a guy
no
like
is the
Scooble who's controllable.
And that'd be it, just Holiday for Scooble.
Let's say it was.
I don't think he can. I still don't think
you don't
he
think
can.
you can, or you wouldn't? Because I think you can.
I mean, yeah, you can. I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
If I said to you for the next 5 years, Westberg's at third, Gunner's at short, Norby's at second, and Mayo's at first.
Feel pretty good about it.
And Scooble's in the starting rotation.
Feel pretty good about it. And the thing is, with Holiday, like he's
I'm with you.
He's an athlete. He can throw him in left field and center.
3 months ago, I would have said no. I look at the depth of this organization, which is all infield.
And he's 20 years old. Like he can have a down year.
I mean,
it's not even a down year.
Has nothing. Like, I just want to say this. This has nothing to do with what he did with the major league level this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to be a superstar.
Yeah.
He's just built. He's got the pedigree. You look at what he's done when he's gone back to the minors. His OPS is still over 900.
He's got great hair. Like,
they're showcasing other people because they've used him at DH a whole lot. So they've been playing, making sure Norby's playing in the field everywhere, every day. Your depth is in the infield. I'm not saying they will. I'm also not saying anymore that I wouldn't. Like, there's 3 months ago, I may have said there's no way he's untouchable. I like Norby. If for the next 5 years, the infield I just said is your infield, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. If I have another ace starting pitcher.
Yeah, it seems like they're in a good spot for it to be like, whatever happens, they're in good shape. And
I'm not on Twitter anymore, so you all can't at me. So
it's at Fans Fantasy.
You get at Fans Fantasy. It's there. I see it maybe once every 2 weeks.
We'll have to drop your email or something so people can find a way to get
Facebook
to
you. Threads.
Facebook Threads. Okay.
Threads at Ken Zalis, KZ. I'm at Threads. I'm there. Glenn Clark's at Threads now.
Is he posting on Threads?
He does.
Okay. I haven't gotten the Threads yet.
I
should, I guess, but
it got too toxic to me. Twitter. I was just over it. Maybe I would go back down now that I'm not giving advice anymore, and I'm just spewing my opinion. I couldn't take all the idiots. I just couldn't. It was too much for me. Like, you're asking for free advice. I'm giving it to you. It didn't work out. Shut up. But I'm not.
You're not married to Holiday. As married, I guess.
I'm not as married. I mean, I would love for I would love for him to be the second baseman and that infield, and Norby possibly be traded.
Nets you whoever.
Nets us whatever, but if they announced it tomorrow, I'm not going to kill him. I'm not going to kill him.
And it has to be, for
it has to be
a Scooble,
Scooble, Crochet. I mean,
yeah.
It would have to be for Scooble.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even because of.
So did you see the report? I see no the report that was going around yesterday.
Which one?
The Jared Jones and Jackson
that's
Holiday.
Fake.
Yeah, I figured it. I
fake
believe
as
it
fake
was.
Could be. There's why? Why? Who made? First of all,
some Pittsburgh writer.
Which
wrote this.
team makes that call?
Mm-hmm.
Like, sure. I mean, no. What? You know, you'd have to. Now, if you had Skeens in that, sure. I don't even know.
But they wouldn't do it. Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't know if either team would do it. But for Joe, does that make sense?
He's been very good. I mean, he's
does it make sense for the Orioles?
I mean, in April, no.
You think it makes sense now?
I mean, like now it would because just dealing with we just discussed the future of their rotation, like what their 2025 rotation consists of right now, and it's Dean Kramer and Grace Rodriguez. So now,
I don't see the Orioles making that call.
Yeah, I don't think
I can see this. I can see Pittsburgh. Hey, would you be interested? No, we wouldn't. Okay, well, yeah, okay, it was floated around. Sure, anything can be floated around. But I didn't buy that.
I didn't buy it either. But
my Pittsburgh friends didn't call me about it, so I'm going to say it's fake.
I think it was fake as well. But people were saying a lot of people were saying that apparently that guy lies before. So, all right.
Okay, so
good list.
Not bad. Not a bad list. So we're going to go to the Tidbit video, correct?
Correct.
We have a video for Tidbit, and will we go right into Tubular?
Well, no, we'll give you the tidbit.
Well, give me a tidbit. Okay, let's play the tidbit.
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful destinations with sunny skies and beautiful beaches? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
All right. So my tidbit for you, Ken, since we're talking a good bit of Ravens, and one stat I always like giving a Glenn before the season starts is new Ravens receivers. So receivers in their first year to play for the Ravens. How many Ravens receivers have had over 1,000 yards receiving in their first season with the Ravens? So for reference, Zay Flowers became seventh on the list all time. He did not reach 1,000.
No.
But he is the most by someone to not break 1,000 yards in their first year with the Ravens. He had 858 last year. There are 6 guys.
Mason?
Yes, Derek Mason is on the list.
Okay.
In 2005, had 1,000.
6 guys.
There are 6 guys. Derek Mason
Bolden?
in 2005. He is Mason's fourth. Bolden in his first year. I think I have to scroll down because he had. Where is Bolden? Why do I not see Bolden on my list? Oh, there he is. He's 9th on the list. He had 837 in 2010.
Okay, so I hit top 10 guys. Does the first year of the Ravens' existence count?
It does, yeah.
So
they were the Baltimore Ravens, right?
Yeah. So what was it? Mike Jackson?
Yes, Michael Jackson. He is the most all time for a Raven in their first year
and what
as a
didn't
Raven.
Who was the
1,200?
Who was his running mate? Didn't he get it too?
He did.
I can't remember his name.
Then I guess you're not gonna be able to get this
No.
correct.
Who was it? Oh my God.
He had 1,100 yards in 96.
This is awful.
He shares the first name with the guy you already named.
Huh?
He shares the first name with the guy you already named.
I know it's Michael. I can't think.
No, it's not Michael. His first name is Derek.
Oh shoot. It's a long time ago, dude. I knew they both did it though.
Yeah, you had Michael Jackson.
And he played.
He's number 1 on this list.
Oh, what was
this guy's number 3 on the list?
Yeah, I believe that.
I said 1,100. He had 1,099 yards.
Okay, we can do this all.
Derek Alexander.
Alexander. Oh, see, as soon as you said Alex, I got it. Alexander. Okay, so there's 3 more guys in their first year as the Raven. Oof.
There is a place where tradition, family, and community gather.
No, there's definitely more you should know.
Heap?
No, not Todd Heap. Todd Heap in his first year, if I remember, he got injured, I think. So he had a low number.
Maybe that's what I'm.
I thought I had Heap on here. I guess not.
That's okay.
I'll find it eventually.
It doesn't matter. He's not one of the top 6.
He only had 200 yards in 2001.
What do you have in 2002? What do you have in 2?
tell you in a second.
Maybe
What are you
I'm-
thinking about other answers?
I terrible at this stuff. I'm impressed. I got 3.
All right, so 1999 is number 2 on the list. He had 836 yards in
Okay.
2002. That was actually his career high. Or sorry, he had 855 in 05. So 20 yards more. In 1999, had 1,105 receiving yards. Would go on to win the Super Bowl with the team the next year. Still very much involved in the Baltimore media scene today.
Oh, Ishmael.
Yes, Kadri had 1105 in 99. So that's your top. That's actually your top 4. 5 and 6. 5 did it in 2014. He had 1,065 yards in 2014. His first year as a Raven. Signed as a free agent. Yeah, signed as a free agent in 2014.
Who am I missing? Who was the guy?
He tore his ACL in 2015, and then his final retired in 2016.
I would have said.
So we got him. It was a typical Ravens signing. Got him in the back end of his career, but a great wide receiver when he was in his prime.
Give me his name.
Steve Smith.
Oh, Smith.
Steve Smith Sr. had a 1065 in 2014, and then in 2016, the big free agent signing of 2016 had 1,017 yards. He was a former Steeler. He was a former, Viking before that, or after that, I guess.
That the Ravens signed?
Yeah. At wide receiver.
Wallace?
Mike Wallace.
He had 1,000 yards?
He had 1,000 yards in 2016.
That's the only Steeler I can remember them signing.
Well done. You got it. So you got.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
I would have never thought of him.
Those are the 6 Ravens in their first year.
If you had ever said to me that Wallace had 1,000 yards here, I would have never.
He had
believed
he had 3,000 yard seasons in his career.
But he was here. Was he only here for a year or 2 years?
2, 16 and 17.
What did he do in 17?
17, he played 15 games. He had 748 yards, 92 catches. He had 116 catches. That was his that was his targets. Sorry, I'm looking at his targets. 72 catches in 16, 52 catches in 2017. And
Wow.
So as it stands now, the only Ravens that could, join this list, Tez Walker, maybe, or Derrick Henry. Who knows? Maybe Derrick Henry, 1,000 yards receiving.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something?
Yes. All right. So that is your tidbit for today. So now we'll go ahead and switch over to Tubular.
And we got Tubular.
There is a place where tradition, family, and community gather, where the aspirations of talented young competitors takes root, and where the crossroads of history, culture, and renewal come together. This spring, experience America's newest and most innovative ballpark, Meritus Park in Hagerstown, Maryland, home of the Atlantic League Flying Boxcars. Plan your getaway today. You're welcome in Hagerstown, Maryland.
All right, tubular-wise, I guess it's all on me. So, because Glenn usually does the sports stuff and I do the non-sports, but so sports, the Orioles and the Cubs, the series finale, they'll be trying to not get swept. Justin Steele on the mound for the Cubbies, and Big Albert Suarez on the mound for the O's. It's on MLB Network in the L.A. and Philly markets, if you happen to be there. Masson has the Nats and the Mets, which is also on MLB Network nationally. Wimbledon women's semifinals going on. Obviously, just saw Jasmine Paolini. I should have had you guess. Try to say, what's the other girl's name? Can you say the other girl's name?
That she beat?
Yeah.
Vesic?
Vekic. I guess. I think that's
close
how
enough.
you say it. And then going on right now, go ahead and read me those names, Ken.
Rabigda? And forget it. I'll never get the Czechoslovakian. I'll never get her name.
Barbara Krejcikova.
Sure.
And Elena Rybakina. I think is how you say it. That's on ESPN right now.
Rybakina out to a 3-0 lead very quickly.
Ooh,
I'd be surprised if
already
she
won Wimbledon before.
Yeah,
right?
I'd be surprised if she doesn't win again.
Number 4 in the world. MLB Network has Rockies and Reds right now, and then Dodgers Phillies at 6. Free MLB TV game is Yankees Rays at 6:50, and then on Amazon Prime at 7, Chicago Sky and Angel Reese take on the New York Liberty at 7. And then golf, I guess. PGA Scottish Open.
Scottish
round 1.
Open. It's already over.
10:30. 10:30. So it started at 10:30. It's over because why is Scotty playing? And
no, I thought like most of the golfers are done.
Oh, no, it started at 10:30 apparently. Or at least on the Golf Channel, their coverage started at 10:30. Non-sports-wise, Serena Williams will be hosting the ESPYs tonight. Why the ESPY? I couldn't really figure out. I couldn't find out like why the ESPYs are tonight, like why they're this week, because they're always usually like the All-Star, like the baseball All-Star week. Just because there's no sports, no other.
Does anybody really watch it anymore?
Anymore, I don't think so. So yeah, touche. But Serena Williams is hosting, so that seems cool, right?
By the way, Scottish Open, Justin Thomas shot -8 so far. He's in the lead.
Jeez, he's probably still in his round 1. And big thing, obviously, I don't know why Glenn didn't make it like the headliner, but season 11 of Impractical Jokers premiering. New network, TBS.
Yes.
TBS for Impractical Jokers.
TBS.
So don't go to True.
Maybe my son's favorite show.
My favorite show for sure. New episode of The Boys, and that's it. Those are the highlights. If anyone's into Vikings Valhalla, the final season is out on Netflix as well. Are you going to watch The Receiver, the show that they did quarterback last summer? Receiver this year came out yesterday on Netflix.
No.
You're not going to check it out? No. Did you watch any of the in-season Hard Knocks?
No.
It was actually pretty. I liked this week's episode. They did like a lot more like draft stuff, like draft combine stuff. Yeah, the Giants.
Yeah, I've seen.
I think you would like this. So the episode that came out Tuesday.
Yeah.
Because they like were focused on like the combine, and it was just kind of a
maybe
draft as a whole.
Maybe I'll check it out.
Yeah, I enjoyed this week's episode.
I hate that the Ravens are part of it.
Oh, the in season. Yeah. Well, why? Because you have to watch now.
Sort of. Pretty much that's the reason I hate it more than anything. So I have to watch. Same reason I hate that their schedule has like 8 primetime games.
Oh, that's true. I guess it'll be okay, right?
It's okay because you don't do the post game show.
Well, I was this past season for the radio station, so it was a lot. It was a lot.
But
yeah.
It sucks. I mean, let's just call it what it is.
Yeah, You're right.
Even the 4:30 games, like everybody's like, well, they don't have 8 primetime games. The 4:30 is a primetime game.
Yeah.
Do you know what time we get off the? It's like 9:30 at night on Sunday. I want to be done. It's annoying.
I'm with you. Yeah, the rest of the highlight for the rest of the Shark Week as well. That's
Shark Week.
Yeah,
John Cena's hosting.
Yeah, John Cena's been hosting Shark Week. John Cena's everywhere.
He's everywhere. He's retiring.
He's retiring too, which
is sad. He's getting his 1 year.
I'm sure it's gonna be a great year though.
A 1 year retirement. I hope
WWE retirement tour. It's gonna be fantastic, right?
As long as he doesn't get hurt. He is old. When people announce things like that, I get worried.
Yeah.
It's like, just don't get hurt.
Yeah.
Just protect him.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, KZ. I think that's everything.
Hey,
that is
tomorrow, guess what is not happening?
It's just gonna be a great show.
It's gonna be a great show, but Glenn Clark still won't be here because he's pretending to be complaining about being on a beach. Little Tweety Bird. He's tweeting about it.
That's a good nickname.
He's threading about it. He's putting it on Facebook, complaining about being on vacation at the beach with his family.
He's creating new social media sites that he can post about how much he hates the beach.
Yes. Like, go to a hotel that has a pool. Stop complaining about it. We know. You're on vacation. You're living the good life. I'm sitting in here hosting, which I enjoyed today. Thank
you very much.
Thank you.
You did a great job.
I appreciate
made it easy to super produce over here.
Yeah, it's not bad. Anytime.
Stan will be in tomorrow.
We'll
catch up with Cordell Woodland. Rock Kubaco is going to join us, among other things. We'll preview the Yankee series and wrap up the first half.
Hopefully, talking
of
about a non-sweep by the Cubs.
Hopefully talking about a non-sweep. We'll get Stan's top 10 targets trade deadline targets as well. I guess.
Yes, his list will be probably much better than mine.
Well, there'll be
a lot of the same
names, but he'll have them in the right order. Yeah,
he will. He's got it down. He's got it down.
Yes.
Listen to him tonight with Eric Garfield.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that'll be out on the Press Box YouTube. But yes, thank you, KZ.
Thank you,
Great show today.
Appreciate it.
And thank you to all our sponsors, of course, as well. Do you want to do Glenn's sign off or nah?
Do we still hate Duke?
We do always.
Duke sucks. Does Ohio State still suck too?
They do, but we don't mention it.
We don't mention it anymore.
Yeah, because
it's just Duke sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, You've been listening to Glenn Clark Radio Show. Duke sucks. Have a good night.